the last chapter, the last nexus, whispers of eternity. Opening quote, "In the end, it is not the strongest who survive, but those who adapt to change." Charles Darwin. New global tensions rise, the implications of destabilized ley lines dominate headlines. Here is one perspective capturing the gravity of the moment. The shattering of the ley lines. Experts debate the implications. Global Herald, January 15, 2086. The ley lines, humanity's lifeblood for energy and technological advancement, have become the center of a growing crisis. Reports of destabilization have emerged worldwide, sparking fears of an impending global catastrophe. Leading scientists and energy experts convened in Geneva to discuss the phenomenon. Dr. Ilara Solis, a pioneer in ley line integration, addressed the conference. The fluctuations we're observing are unprecedented. If the ley lines rupture completely, the energy grid we've come to depend on will collapse. This isn't just an energy crisis. It's a fundamental shift in our planet's balance. Ramses II of Zion stated in a global broadcast, "We cannot allow fear to dictate our actions." Zion's confluence array represents the most advanced solution to stabilize the ley lines and secure our future. He further emphasized the need for global cooperation, sharing data that suggested imminent critical thresholds in several ley line nexuses. The crisis is exacerbated by tensions between major factions. Zion insists that their confluence array is the only solution to stabilize the ley lines, while the Vatican accuses Zion of causing the destabilization through reckless experimentation. Resistance forces, meanwhile, have released leaked data suggesting both factions bear responsibility. Public sentiment is divided. In New York, protests erupted against corporate monopolization of ley line access, with demonstrators chanting, "Our Earth, not your profit." Meanwhile, citizens of Zion gathered in solidarity, proclaiming their trust in Ramses II's vision to restore order. Whispers of the Serpent's awakening continue to circulate, with some attributing the ley line disturbances to ancient forces beyond human comprehension. Whether the crisis is the result of human error or something more sinister remains a matter of fierce debate, but one thing is clear: the world stands on the brink of a transformative reckoning. Leading scientists and energy experts convened in Geneva to discuss the phenomenon. Dr. Ilara Solis, a pioneer in ley line integration, addressed the conference. The fluctuations we're observing are unprecedented. If the ley lines rupture completely, the energy grid we've come to depend on will collapse. This isn't just an energy crisis. It's a fundamental shift in our planet's balance. The crisis is exacerbated by tensions between major factions. Zion insists that their confluence array is the only solution to stabilize the ley lines, while the Vatican accuses Zion of causing the destabilization through reckless experimentation. Resistance forces, meanwhile, have released leaked data suggesting both factions bear responsibility. Public sentiment is divided. In New York, protests erupted against corporate monopolization of ley line access, with demonstrators chanting, "Our Earth, not your profit." Meanwhile, citizens of Zion gathered in solidarity, proclaiming their trust in Ramses II's vision to restore order. Whispers of the Serpent's awakening continue to circulate, with some attributing the ley line disturbances to ancient forces beyond human comprehension. Whether the crisis is the result of human error or something more sinister remains a matter of fierce debate, but one thing is clear: the world stands on the brink of a transformative. A city in flux. The rain in Neo-Tokyo never truly stops. It falls in silver sheets, blurring the lines between the towering skyscrapers and the endless neon glow of the streets below. Somewhere in the distance, a temple bell echoes faintly, its chime lost in the rhythmic drizzle. Alongside, the soft strains of a shamisen drift through an open doorway, blending seamlessly with the synthetic beats of a nearby club, creating a melody that feels both ancient and ultramodern. Here, the chaos of the present collides with the traditions of the past, creating a city unlike any other. On a bustling corner, street vendors hawk sizzling skewers of meat and rice balls, their holographic signs shimmering in the drizzle. Nearby, a performer manipulates a glowing orb with deft hands, creating mesmerizing patterns that draw a small crowd. The faint smell of grilled soy and ozone from the drones fills the air, mingling with the quiet chatter of passers. Above, drones zip through the air, their whirring a constant backdrop to the city's symphony. A young woman pauses under a flickering neon sign, her umbrella glowing faintly to match the light. She looks up at the towering skyline, her reflection merging with the city's endless layers of light and rain. Neo-Tokyo's Metasphere hubs are among the most advanced in the world. Inside these sprawling facilities, users immerse themselves in experiences ranging from the serene, a tranquil walk through a digital Zen garden, to the chaotic, high-octane racing through virtual cityscapes. The hub's popularity reflects the city's duality, a deep reverence for tradition juxtaposed with an unrelenting drive toward the future. Yet beneath the city's vibrant surface, tensions simmer. Resistance graffiti marks walls in forgotten alleys, and whispers of corporate espionage and underground neural hacking fill. A dark coat disappears into the shadows, the faint glow of their neural link flickering before vanishing entirely. In Neo-Tokyo, every glowing sign and serene experience conceals a shadow, and every step forward is matched by a lingering sense of unease. The rain in Neo-Tokyo never truly stops. It falls in silver sheets, blurring the lines between the towering skyscrapers and the endless neon glow of the streets below. Here, the chaos of the present collides with the traditions of the past, creating a city unlike any other. On a bustling corner, street vendors hawk sizzling skewers of meat and rice balls, their holographic signs shimmering in the drizzle. Nearby, a performer manipulates a glowing orb with deft hands, creating mesmerizing patterns that draw a small crowd. Above, drones zip through the air, their whirring a constant backdrop to the city's symphony. Neo-Tokyo's Metasphere hubs are among the most advanced in the world. Inside these sprawling facilities, users immerse themselves in experiences ranging from the serene, a tranquil walk through a digital Zen garden, to the chaotic, high-octane racing through virtual cityscapes. The hub's popularity reflects the city's duality, a deep reverence for tradition juxtaposed with an unrelenting drive toward the future. Yet, beneath the city's vibrant surface, tensions simmer. Resistance graffiti marks walls in forgotten alleys, and whispers of corporate espionage and underground neural hacking fill the air. In Neo-Tokyo, every glowing sign and serene experience conceals a shadow, and every step forward is matched by a lingering sense of narrative. Timestamp January 17, 2086, Deep Leyline Nexus, Northern Hemisphere. This moment marked a turning point in the Resistance's campaign. The ley lines, which had long been seen as an infinite resource, were beginning to reveal their enigmatic will. As the team approached the Nexus, they knew their actions could determine the fate of Zion's confluence array and perhaps the stability of the entire planet. January 17, 2086, Deep Leyline Nexus, Northern Hemisphere. The air within the Nexus was heavy, charged with an energy that seemed to pulse in time with the planet's heartbeat. Flavia adjusted her neural visor, the faint hum of the ley line vibrations reverberating in her chest. Around her, the Resistance team moved with calculated precision, their boots crunching against the crystalline floor. "This place feels alive," Matteo muttered, his voice tinged with unease. He gestured toward the Nexus core, a massive structure of shifting light glyphs surface, their patterns pulsating with a hypnotic rhythm. Each glyph seemed alive, shifting fluidly between intricate geometric shapes and glowing symbols that defied comprehension. Their colors ranged from deep sapphire blues to fiery oranges, flickering and merging like the strokes of a cosmic painter. The movements were erratic, yet purposeful, as if the glyphs were telling a story in a language beyond human understanding. Flavia nodded, her gaze fixed on the core. It is alive, or something close to it. The ley lines aren't just energy, they're interconnected. Sentient, maybe. The team's objective was clear: extract critical data from the Nexus and disable its connection to Zion's confluence array. Yet, as they approached the core, the energy grew more erratic. Flavia could feel it in her bones, a thrumming that seemed to sync with her pulse. "We've got movement," Matteo said sharply. He pointed toward the shadows, where golden armored figures emerged. Zion's Seraphim had arrived. The Resistance operatives scattered, their cloaking devices flickering as they sought cover. Flavia crouched behind a crystalline outcrop, her neural visor displaying a chaotic stream of data. The Seraphim moved with mechanical precision, their weapons humming with ley line energy. "Stay calm," Matteo's voice crackled in Flavia's earpiece. "We've trained for this." Flavia nodded, her fingers flying across her interface as she initiated the data extraction. The core resisted, its glyphs shifting faster, as though trying to repel her intrusion. She gritted her teeth, focusing on the task despite the chaos unfolding around her. Suddenly, the air grew colder. A low, resonant hum filled the chamber, and the glyphs on the core flared brighter. Flavia glanced up to see a massive construct materialize above the nexus, its form both beautiful and terrifying. It resembled a serpent coiled around a spire, its eyes glowing with an intense, unearthly. "The serpent," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The construct's gaze fixed on Flavia, and for a moment time seemed to freeze. She felt a rush of images flood her mind, fractured memories, glimpses of a world long forgotten, and the faint echo of a voice she couldn't place. Then, just as suddenly, the connection broke, leaving her gasping for air. "We need to move," Matteo barked, snapping her back to reality. "Now." Flavia disconnected from the core, the severance sending a jolt through her neural link. She stumbled as the team regrouped, their cloaking devices barely holding as they retreated through the labyrinthine nexus. The construct remained motionless, its gaze unyielding. Flavia couldn't shake the feeling that it had let them go, not out of mercy, but because it had already learned. Journal entry: Flavia Marinelli, Resistance Operative, January 18, 2086. The Nexus is unlike anything I've ever encountered. It's not just a structure, it's alive, pulsating with a rhythm that feels ancient and alien. The glyphs on its surface seem to react to our presence, shifting and twisting as though trying to communicate. I couldn't understand their message, but I felt it, a sense of urgency, of warning. And then there was the construct, the Serpent. I've heard the whispers, the legends, but seeing it with my own eyes, it was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. When it looked at me, it wasn't just seeing me, it was inside my mind, pulling at memories I didn't even know I had. For a moment I felt like I understood everything, and then it was gone. We've retrieved the data, but I can't shake the feeling that we're playing with forces far beyond our control. Zion and the Vatican think they can harness the ley lines, but what if they're wrong? What if these energies aren't meant to be controlled? What if the Serpent is more than a legend? I don't have answers. All I know is that the Nexus has changed me, and I'm not sure if it's... Outro Extra. The ley lines hum with an enigmatic energy that beckons the curious and the daring. Zion's marketing prowess once again captures imaginations with their newest offering, Nexus Dreams. An immersive Metasphere expansion, it promises to unravel the mysteries of the ley lines for anyone with a neural link. Upon activation, users are greeted by a breathtaking digital landscape, a shimmering aurora cascading over crystalline spires, each reflecting an otherworldly glow. The simulation mimics the sensory overload of standing within a ley line nexus. Faint whispers echo in the distance, their origin unclear but undeniably ancient. The ground vibrates gently, as if the world itself were alive, pulsating with a heartbeat not its own. Testimonials from beta testers have been overwhelmingly positive. "It's like stepping into another dimension," said one user, his voice brimming with wonder. "You don't just see the ley lines, you feel them, as if they're..." The journey isn't without its challenges. Users must navigate puzzles inspired by the glyphs discovered within actual nexuses, decoding their meanings to progress deeper into the simulation. Zion promises that these puzzles aren't merely for entertainment, but are derived from cutting-edge interpretations of real ley line data. As users delve deeper, their reactions become increasingly profound. "There was a moment when I felt like I was the ley lines themselves," another beta tester shared. "I saw memories or echoes of things I can't describe, entire cities built on energy, voices speaking in tones I've never heard before. It was overwhelming, but beautiful." Beyond the entertainment, Zion's marketing hints at something more significant: the possibility of discovering hidden truths about the ley lines and their connection to humanity. The tagline teases this sense of adventure. What secrets will you uncover? For many, Nexus Dreams is more than a game. It's an opportunity to connect with the profound, to walk the boundary between reality and legend, and perhaps to confront the Serpent itself. Experience the mysteries of the ley lines like never before. Zion's latest Metasphere expansion, Nexus Dreams, offers users an unparalleled journey through the energies that bind our world. Traverse glowing landscapes, decode ancient glyphs, and uncover the secrets of the Serpent, all from the comfort of your neural link. Step into the unknown. Step into the nexus. Experience the mysteries of the ley lines like never before. Zion's latest Metasphere expansion, Nexus Dreams, offers users an unparalleled journey through the energies that bind our world. Traverse glowing landscapes, decode ancient glyphs, and uncover the secrets of the Serpent, all from the comfort of your neural link. Step into the unknown. Step in. Outro quote: "The greatest danger is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and succeed." Chapter 18, The Brink of Eternity. Opening quote: "There are moments when history shifts, and in those moments humanity either transcends or perishes." Leyline Convergence, A Prelude to Transformation. Global Herald, February 10, 2086. As the world holds its breath, the convergence of major leyline nexuses is drawing closer. Scientists warn that this unprecedented alignment could have catastrophic effects on global energy networks, ecosystems, and even human consciousness. "We're entering uncharted territory," said Dr. Alara Solis, lead researcher at the Global Energy Consortium. "The energy currents are destabilizing at an exponential rate, and if the convergence occurs without mitigation, the outcome could be apocalyptic." Faction leaders are responding with urgency. Zion's Ramses II unveiled the next phase of the Confluence Array, describing it as a shield to protect humanity from the chaos of convergence. Meanwhile, the Vatican's Emperor Constantine denounced Zion's technology as blasphemous meddling and declared the deployment of the Crusader legions to safeguard key nexuses. Public sentiment is polarized. In New York, protests erupted against the use of leyline energy, with demonstrators accusing both factions of risking planetary destruction. In contrast, Zion's citizens rallied in support of Ramses II, chanting, "Innovation is salvation." Adding to the tension, reports of leyline anomalies are increasing worldwide. In a remote village in northern India, glowing fissures opened beneath a farmer's field, emitting a low hum that caused livestock to scatter. In the Mojave Desert, witnesses reported a shimmering mirage that revealed ghostly figures walking in tandem with a spectral serpent. And in London, pedestrians stopped in their tracks as whispers emanated from the leyline junction near Westminster Abbey, the voices speaking in fragmented languages lost to time. Witnesses described glowing fissures in the earth, strange atmospheric phenomena, and whispers emanating from the nexuses. Conspiracy theories about the Serpent's awakening are spreading rapidly, fueling fear and fascination. The coming weeks will determine whether humanity can harness the power of convergence or succumb to its destructive potential. As one protester's sign read, "The ley lines giveth and the ley lines take." Paris, the city of shattered dreams. Neo-Paris glimmers with fractured beauty, its skyline a blend of historic architecture and cutting-edge innovation. The air is tinged with the metallic scent of rain, mingling with the faint hum of distant drones that patrol the skyline. The Eiffel Tower now stands adorned with holographic projections, casting light shows that shift with the whims of the ley lines beneath the city. The displays ripple in time with the energy currents, forming ghostly shapes and patterns that mesmerize onlookers. The streets are alive with activity, a chaotic dance of tourists, locals, and resistance operatives moving through the labyrinthine alleys. Food carts sell everything from artisanal baguettes to protein paste, their vendors shouting over the din of street performers and drone deliveries. In the air, the hum of ley lines creates an undercurrent of unease, a reminder that the city's foundations are as unstable as its alliances. The tension is palpable. Resistance graffiti adorns crumbling walls, their symbols glowing faintly with augmented reality overlays. Drones hover above, their searchlights sweeping through the narrow streets. A street preacher stands on a soapbox, his voice echoing through the bustling crowd. "The convergence is upon us," he shouts, his voice a mix of fervor and despair. "Repent or be consumed by the fire of transformation." Above it all, a neon sign blinks erratically. "Live your dreams in the Metasphere," a promise of escape from a world on the brink. February 12, 2086, Convergence Nexus, Eastern Europe. The air buzzed with electricity as the resistance team approached the nexus. The terrain was otherworldly. Crystalline formations jutted from the ground, pulsing with light in rhythm with the ley line's hum. Overhead, the sky churned with storm clouds, their edges tinged with an eerie green glow. Flavia adjusted her neural interface, her heart pounding in sync with the vibrations beneath her feet. The ground felt alive, as if a great pulse echoed through the earth, each vibration resonating in her chest like the low, unrelenting beat of a war drum. A faint metallic tang filled the air, and the hum grew louder, setting her nerves on edge. Beside her, Matteo checked his weapon, his jaw set with determination. "We're not alone," he said, nodding toward a shadowed ridge where figures in golden armor stood motionless. The Crusader legions had arrived. The team fanned out, their cloaking devices shimmering as they blended into the surreal landscape. Flavia's visor displayed a cascade of data, mapping the Nexus's intricate energy flows. The core towered ahead, a spiraling structure of light and shadow, its surface etched with ancient glyphs that seemed to writhe and shift as though alive. "The confluence array has already integrated with this Nexus," Flavia muttered. "If we don't sever the connection, Zion will have complete control." Matteo placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let's move. We don't have much time." As they advanced, the Crusaders sprang to life, their movements precise and relentless. The Resistance operatives engaged, their weapons firing bursts of concentrated energy. Flavia darted toward the core, her fingers flying over her interface as she initiated the severance sequence. The Nexus reacted violently, the ground trembled, and the glyphs flared brighter, casting the battlefield in blind. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, and a massive construct began to materialize above the core. A serpent coiled around a spire, its eyes burning with an ancient, unyielding light. The serpent's eyes locked onto Flavia, and for a moment time seemed to freeze. She felt an unbearable pressure in her mind, as if the creature's gaze was unraveling her thoughts and memories. A cascade of images, her childhood home, the faces of her lost comrades, her unspoken fears, flashed before her eyes. Her pulse quickened, and a cold sweat broke out across her skin. It was not just looking at her, it was dissecting her, as though peeling back the layers of her identity to expose her very essence. The air around her grew heavy, and a sharp ringing sound filled her ears, drowning out the chaos of the battlefield. It wasn't just looking at her, it was looking through her, sifting through her memories and emotions, as if peeling back the layers of her very soul. Flavia gasped, her hands trembling on her interface. "Flavia!" Matteo's shout snapped her back. She completed the sequence, severing the confluence array's connection to the Nexus. The serpent let out a deafening roar, its form dissipating into streams of light that merged with the ley lines. The backlash was immediate. A wave of energy exploded outward, throwing operatives and crusaders alike to the ground. Flavia scrambled to her feet, her vision blurred and ears ringing. Matteo appeared beside her, blood streaking his face. "We need to move," he said, his voice hoarse. Together, they stumbled away from the battlefield. The Nexus's light dimmed. Journal entry: Anelli, Resistance Operative, February 13th, 2086. The Convergence Nexus was unlike anything I've ever seen. It wasn't just a structure, it was alive, pulsating with a rhythm that felt both ancient and alien. The energy was overwhelming, as if the ley lines themselves were trying to communicate. And then there was the serpent. It's no longer just a myth. I saw it with my own eyes, felt its presence in my mind. When it looked at me, it wasn't just seeing, it was understanding, probing. For a moment, I felt like I was part of something vast and incomprehensible. We managed to sever Zion's connection to the Nexus, but at what cost? The energy backlash was devastating, and the Crusaders were relentless. Matteo was injured, and our escape was chaotic. I can't shake the feeling that the serpent let us go, that it's playing a game we don't understand. I don't know what's coming, but I do know this: the ley lines are changing, and so are we. The Nexus Convergence, a Metasphere perspective. Zion's latest Metasphere expansion, Convergence Chronicles, allows users to experience the ley line phenomenon from the safety of their neural links. The simulation recreates the Nexus landscapes in stunning detail, complete with the pulsating glyphs and the overwhelming hum of energy. Users describe the experience as transformative. "It's like standing at the edge of creation," one beta tester said. In one of the most talked-about scenarios, players can enter a simulated ley line eruption in the Mojave Desert, where glowing fissures crack open the earth, revealing swirling patterns of light and shadow. As the energy builds to a crescendo, a spectral serpent emerges, its scales shimmering with ancient glyphs that seem to whisper secrets in a language no one can understand. The sensation of standing amidst this chaos, users claim, is both exhilarating and humbling, as if they are witnessing the birth of something cosmic. You feel the power, the danger, and the wonder all at once. The expansion also includes a new feature, the ability to interact with an AI-driven avatar of the Serpent. Players can ask it questions, decode its glyphs, and even attempt to influence its behavior. Zion claims this feature is purely entertainment, but conspiracy theories abound that it's a tool for researching real-world leyline interactions. Despite the controversy, Convergence Chronicles has become the Metasphere's most popular expansion, drawing millions of users eager to explore the mysteries of the leylines. For many, it's a way to confront the unknown from the comfort of their neural rigs. In the real world, debates rage over whether the Metasphere's simulation has inadvertently uncovered secrets about the leyline's true nature. Some researchers argue that player interactions with the Serpent AI have mirrored real-world leyline disruptions, raising questions about the simulation's accuracy. To stand on the brink of eternity is to confront both the infinite and the fleeting. Leyline Reverie. Opening quote, "The song of the earth is not one melody but a chorus, ancient, fractured, and waiting to be heard." Krishna Patel, Journal of Leyline Studies. Big headline, Leyline instability sparks global anxieties. Delhi, October 2085. Reports of increasing leyline disruptions are sparking widespread concern across global factions. Following the phenomenon known as the ghost signals, tensions have escalated between Zion, the neo-United States, and the Vatican over claims of leyline misuse. In India, where the legendary city of Dwarka rests atop a leyline nexus, seismic and metaphysical activities have surged, affecting both virtual and physical systems. Krishna Patel, a renowned peace guardian and leyline theorist, has called for immediate collaboration. The leylines are not merely energy pathways, they are veins of the Earth's consciousness, she stated. Their destabilization reflects deeper imbalances we've yet to understand. Meanwhile, Zion has deployed a contingent of leyguards to investigate the nexus, sparking accusations from resistance operatives of territorial overreach. Led by Cardinal Flavia Orsini, argued the disruptions are signs of divine reckoning. Similarly, Lone Star Armada Commander Eva Morales of the neo-United States emphasized, leyline security is not just a regional matter, it's a planetary imperative. We must prioritize collective stewardship over unilateral exploitation. With factions blaming one another for the disturbances, the Metasphere's influence looms large, offering a virtual escape but also amplifying fears. Analysts warn that unchecked leyline tampering risks a cascade of global consequences, both in the real world and the virtual realm. Short story, Krishna's Tether. The air shimmered in Dwarka's central plaza, where ancient ruins stood as silent witnesses to the city's reawakening. Krishna Patel moved deliberately, her footsteps echoing against polished stone now interwoven with modern architecture. Her neural implant vibrated faintly, signaling another ghost signal surge. She touched a bronze tablet embedded in the wall. The inscription glowed faintly, a blend of Sanskrit and digital code. "You're awake," she murmured, addressing the leylines rather than any person. An ethereal hum reverberated through her mind. A leyline burst erupted near the plaza's edge, crackling with energy. She stepped forward, her Peace Guardian gear, a synthesis of ancient Vedic textiles and cutting-edge bioweave armor, absorbing the heat. Krishna, a voice interrupted her concentration. Tasha Ivonin, a resistance operative, approached, her expression tense. "We have movement. Zion's ley guards are less than 10 Krishna briefly. The weight of the Earth's whispers bore down on her, but the human discord amplified them. "We're not fighting them," she said softly. "They don't share that sentiment." Tasha gestured to a hollow display projecting tactical data. "This nexus is critical, and they know it." Krishna turned to the leyline node, placing her hand on the glowing crystal. Energy coursed through her, bringing visions of ancient cities, collapsing ecosystems, and flickering neural pathways. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "The lines are breaking because we're breaking." A low rumble shook the ground. In the distance, golden-armored leyguards emerged, their plasma lances glowing faintly. Krishna's hand remained on the crystal as she murmured a single word, balance. The energy field around the plaza flared, and the advancing Leguards hesitated. For a moment, the nexus pulsed harmoniously, silencing even the most hostile intentions. Snapshot Chipan, a fusion of tradition and innovation. Chipan's skyline, a juxtaposition of pagodas and neon skyscrapers, epitomizes its cultural philosophy, harmony through contrast. Neural monks meditate in VR temples, crafting digital mandalas that weave spiritual insight with technological precision. Meanwhile, Yakuza clans wield leyline augmented blades, their rites steeped in both ancient Bushido and the opportunistic ruthlessness of the digital age. Temples outfitted with quantum relays broadcast prayers across the Metasphere, blending spiritual traditions with advanced tech. Festivals in Japan are equally emblematic of this duality. The Oban dreamscapes, for instance, allow participants to interact with ancestral spirits through shared VR experiences. These simulations, powered by leyline harmonics, have garnered global attention for their immersive blend of nostalgia and innovation. Despite its cultural advancements, Japan faces challenges. The influx of corporate entities seeking to capitalize on its leyline resources threatens its delicate balance. Protests by traditionalists clash with tech advocates who view leyline integration as the future's cornerstone, reflecting Japan's ongoing struggle to preserve identity amidst transformation. Extra 2. Intelligence Report, Annunaki Leyline Interference, Resistance Analysis. Data recovered from Vatican servers suggests Annunaki tech embedded in the Nexus Crucible may be amplifying leyline instability. Resistance operatives have pieced together fragmented evidence of deliberate experimentation. The Annunaki artifacts appear to function as amplifiers, capable of drawing latent energy from leyline nexuses, while simultaneously introducing instability to destabilize local networks. Resistance analysts theorize this interference serves two purposes: awakening dormant energy fields to unearth hidden caches of Annunaki knowledge, and testing humanity's ability to withstand metaphysical disruptions. The potential consequences extend beyond the physical. Reports from leyline-sensitive individuals describe visions of ancient worlds and cryptic messages warning of balance or destruction. This intelligence has prompted calls for collaboration between factions to mitigate risks, though mistrust between Zion, the Vatican, and other stakeholders complicates any potential alliance. The resistance emphasizes the need for transparency to counter these ancient technologies' unintended consequences. Extra 3. Advertisement. Discover Zion's VR retreats. Escape the chaos of the physical world. Immerse yourself in Zion's dreamscapes, a haven of tranquility powered by leyline harmonics. Explore digital oases meticulously crafted to heal your mind, body, and spirit. Zion's dreamscapes feature specialized realms such as Eternal Karnak, an expansive recreation of the ancient Egyptian city. Walk amidst its grand temples, converse with AI-driven historical personas, and witness ceremonies designed to evoke a sense of spiritual renewal. These retreats are available for personalized experiences. Guests may tailor the settings to reflect personal memories or aspirations, creating bespoke journeys that resonate deeply. Critics argue that such escapism could lead to overdependence on virtual spaces, but Zion counters this with data demonstrating improved mental health metrics among participants. For a limited time, new users can explore Eternal Karnak for free. Unwind in a world where the past and future converge harmoniously. Extra 4. Historical Perspective. Texas's Lone Star Armada, Guardians of the Neo-United States. The Lone Star Armada symbolizes the Neo-United States' dedication to sovereignty and innovation. Established in 2080 after the unification of Texas and the CFS, this fleet operates as both a military deterrent and a diplomatic symbol. Comprising advanced leyline-powered airships and cloned pilot squads, the Armada blends traditional Texan independence with cutting-edge technology. Each ship is equipped with adaptive shielding and plasma cannons derived from Zion's leyline research, making them formidable in defense and exploration. Training regimens for cloned pilots focus on instilling loyalty and tactical ingenuity. Despite being biologically identical, every pilot undergoes rigorous simulations to hone decision-making skills, ensuring adaptability in unpredictable scenarios. The Armada's motto, "One Star, Endless Horizons," encapsulates its dual commitment to territorial defense and extraterrestrial ventures. The fleet's recent exploration of Mars's leyline hubs signals its growing ambition to extend humanity's reach beyond Earth. Critics, however, warn of escalating tensions as the Armada's ventures increasingly encroach upon Zion's domain. Expanded journal entry by Krishna Patel. The ley lines speak in frequencies we've forgotten to hear. Their song reverberates through both the Earth and the Metasphere, hinting at unity we've yet to achieve. As I touched the node today, it revealed a vision of interconnectedness, not just of energy, but of responsibility. We've created divides through power struggles and overreach, yet the lines remind us of a truth deeper than technology. Harmony is a choice. The echoes of ancient civilizations show us that the price of imbalance is collapse. I also glimpsed another possibility, one where we listen, where we learn to coexist with the power flowing beneath us. It's not a simple task, and it demands sacrifices we've long resisted. Yet I felt hope. The lines pulse with potential, a chance to mend the fractures within and between us. The question remains, are we brave enough to make it? The time to choose is now, and the cost of inaction will ripple far beyond our understanding. Outro quote, "To awaken the Earth's heart, we must first quiet our own." Krishna Patel. Chapter 19, The Nexus Unveiled. Opening quote, "The thing more dangerous than ambition is a world unwilling to rise to meet it." Unknown. News article headline, Global Leyline Crisis. Zion, Reich, and Resistance clash over Mars uplink. The world teeters on the edge of catastrophe as three major powers converge in a battle over Mars's ancient Annunaki uplink. Zion, under Ramses II, seeks to harness this alien technology for global VR dominance. The Reich has deployed Tesla disruptors, aiming to claim the uplink's immense power, while the Resistance rallies to prevent the leyline collapse threatening Earth's stability. The stakes have never been higher. Recent leyline surges have already destabilized tectonic plates across Eurasia, with tremors reported as far as the Pacific Rim. Geologists are racing to map these disruptions, but every hour brings the world closer to a potential cascade of natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, and leyline ruptures that could devastate entire continents. Yet, amidst this looming catastrophe, the ghost signals, anomalous bursts of data resonating across the Metasphere, continue to mystify analysts. "It's not just noise," said Dr. Elise Hartman of Metasphere Research, speaking from an undisclosed Resistance safehouse. "These signals could be a message from the Annunaki, a warning embedded within their uplink systems. If we decipher it, we might prevent the worst-case scenario." But factions remain divided on their interpretation, with some dismissing the phenomenon as a distraction from the real threat, Zion's global VR dominance agenda. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels have broken down as the Vatican, Zion, and the Nordic Alliance accuse each other of clandestine operations. "This isn't just about technology or politics anymore," warned Greta Heller of the Resistance. "This is about survival. The ley lines are bleeding into chaos. We must act together, or none of us will survive to claim the uplink." Observers note that rogue factions and corporations are exploiting the chaos for profit. Adding to the unease, mysterious glowing orbs have begun appearing in the skies over major cities, their silent presence coinciding with leyline surges. These enigmatic phenomena have fueled speculation about their origin and purpose, with some theorists linking them to ancient Annunaki technologies or deeper earthly mysteries yet to be uncovered. Prometheus Technologies, ostensibly aligned with Zion, has reportedly sold high-frequency disruptor nodes to both the Reich and Resistance-aligned operatives, muddying the waters of allegiance. In the shadow of Mars's looming uplink, Earth's factions are playing a dangerous game where victory may come at the cost of global annihilation. Intro Extra, Intelligent Snapshot, The Nexus Unfolds. The leyline network's instability has triggered widespread speculation about the Annunnaki's ancient influence on humanity. Experts debate whether these disruptions are an unintended consequence of human tampering or an intentional failsafe embedded within the system. Others suggest the orbs, which have begun appearing in conjunction with leyline surges, could be ancient monitoring devices, a warning system left behind by Earth's earliest inhabitants to track disturbances in the leyline matrix. Some theorists suggest that Mars' uplink serves as a keystone, stabilizing Earth's interconnected leyline matrix. If tampered with, this delicate balance could unravel, creating a metaphysical breach akin to the ghost signal surges. In underground VR hubs, hackers and rogue researchers shared decrypted fragments of data allegedly tied to the Annunnaki's original design. These fragments hint at dormant protocols, fail-safes that may hold the key to restoring harmony. However, these theories remain controversial, as factions like Zion dismiss them as distractions from immediate conflict. As Mars uplink becomes a central battleground, conspiracy theories about ghost signals being Anunnaki warnings gain traction in underground VR networks, sparking debates on humanity's readiness to wield such power. Narrative timestamp: 2086, Resistance Headquarters, Himalayan Vault. The air crackled with tension as Krishna Patel entered the Vault of Harmony, a sprawling chamber deep beneath the Resistance's fortified base in the Himalayan foothills. Leyline conduits shimmered with pulsating energy, casting an ethereal glow on the vaulted ceilings etched with ancient Sanskrit and quantum glyphs. It was here that the Resistance had gathered the brightest minds and the most desperate dreams to confront humanity's tipping point. All systems stable for now, Tasha Avonen reported, her fingers flying across a holographic interface. Data streams cascaded around her, highlighting fluctuations in the global leyline network. But we're seeing localized disruptions near Zion's headquarters. They're tampering with the Mars uplink. Krishna clenched her fists, the faint hum of the ley lines resonating through her core. If Ramses activates that uplink, the Metasphere will no longer belong to humanity. It'll be his weapon. It's worse than that, interjected a deep voice. Greta Heller, the seasoned leader of the Resistance, stepped forward. Her face bore the lines of countless battles, yet her eyes burned with determination. We intercepted chatter. The Reich has deployed Tesla disruptors to sabotage Zion's Mars relay. They're not trying to stop him. They're trying to claim it for themselves. The room fell silent. The implications were clear. A three-way conflict was brewing, and the Earth's stability, both metaphysical and political, hung in the balance. Expanded journal entry. The hum of the ley lines grows louder with each passing day. They are alive, and they are pleading. Each fluctuation, each surge, feels like a warning, an urgent call for intervention. Yet we are fractured, driven by greed and ambition rather than unity. Ramses seeks to bend this power to his will, while the Reich's disruptors threaten to tear it apart entirely. Even the Resistance, for all its ideals, struggles to see beyond survival to the greater picture. Lord Krishna's words echo in my mind. Balance demands sacrifice. But how do we define balance when the stakes are this high? Is it the preservation of the ley lines at all costs, even if it means confronting Ramses with destructive force? Or is it something more profound, a willingness to relinquish our control over this power entirely? The Nexus offers no easy answers. Its energies hum with possibilities, but each path feels fraught with pain. I fear what that sacrifice might be, but I know it is inevitable. Unity is our only hope, yet it feels farther away than ever. Perhaps that is the true test, whether we can set aside our differences before the ley lines set them aside for us. Narrative: the ley line nexus. Beneath the vault of harmony lay the nexus, an ancient convergence point where the Earth's ley lines intertwined in a luminous spiral of energy. Few dared to enter its core, where the metaphysical energy was so potent it threatened to unmoor the mind from the body. Krishna descended alone, the weight of the world's hope pressing on her shoulders. The chamber was a marvel of ancient and alien craftsmanship. Translucent crystals jutted from the walls, each pulsating in harmony with the ley line's rhythm. At the center, a pillar of radiant energy surged upward, its glow illuminating intricate carvings of Anunnaki figures entwined with human forms. It was here that the Anunnaki had first shared their knowledge millennia ago, and where their presence lingered still. Krishna Patel, a voice echoed, resonant and otherworldly. She turned to see the shimmering projection of Lord Krishna, his visage a fusion of divine and cybernetic. You seek balance, but balance demands sacrifice. She knelt, her heart pounding. I seek guidance, Lord. Ramses has harnessed the Annunnaki's power, but he's twisting it. How do we stop him without unraveling the ley lines entirely? The projection extended a hand, and Krishna felt a surge of warmth and clarity. The Annunnaki's knowledge is not inherently destructive, but humanity's greed corrupts it. To reclaim the Nexus, you must unite Earth's factions. Only together can you stabilize the energy flows. Ramses will not yield. He must be confronted, but not with hatred. Krishna's mind raced, and if he refuses, Then you must choose, the voice softened. The ley lines will follow the will of their stewards. Be certain your heart is pure. Krishna lingered in the chamber, absorbing the intricate carvings surrounding her. Among the depictions of Annunaki figures and celestial patterns, one carving stood out, a series of glowing orbs hovering over ancient cities, their light radiating in harmony with the ley lines. The image felt hauntingly familiar, as if the orbs themselves were watching, waiting for humanity to notice their silent presence. One tableau showed humanity's first interaction with the Annunaki, a depiction of reverence and exchange. Another revealed the catastrophic consequences of unchecked power, cities consumed by fire, ley lines exploding into chaos. Silent and unmoving, orbs hovered above these scenes in the carvings, their enigmatic presence suggesting a timeless connection to Earth's ancient balance, perhaps as witnesses or guardians against such destruction. These warnings weren't just history, they were a blueprint of what could happen again. "Why show me this?" Krishna whispered to the projection. Lord Krishna's gaze softened, his cybernetic features gleaming, because balance is an act of creation and destruction. Humanity must decide which path it walks. As she ascended back to the vault of harmony, Krishna could feel the ley line's song shift slightly, harmonizing with her purpose. She resolved to unite the factions, even if it meant facing Ramses' wrath directly. Unity was not just a choice, it was survival. Outro Extra, Historical Perspective. The Reich's Tesla disruptors, once heralded as a renewable energy innovation, became instruments of domination in the wrong hands. This technology's journey, from promise to peril, mirrors humanity's enduring struggle to wield power responsibly. As ley lines now teeter on the brink of collapse, these tools stand as both salvation and threat. Tesla disruptors are not inherently malicious, but their misuse underscores the vulnerability of powerful innovations in human hands. Engineers note that disruptors operate on frequencies that directly resonate with ley line energy, a dangerous amplification effect when tampered with. Their evolution, from energy grids to weapons of war, is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for both ingenuity and devastation. The Reich's adoption of these disruptors was strategic but reckless. Reports suggest they aim to override the ley line nexus entirely, redirecting its flows toward Eurasian power grid. If successful, this would leave Zion and the resistance crippled, but the cost could be irreparable damage to the ley line matrix itself, a gamble no one can afford to lose. Outro quote, "The veil between ambition and madness is thinnest at the edge of the abyss." The Codex of Zion. Chapter 20, The Gathering Storm, opening quote, "The strength of the storm is not in its fury, but in how it binds the world together in its wake." Ancient Annunaki. News article headline, "Orbs over Earth, Global Panic and the Race to Decode the Mystery." Reports of glowing orbs appearing over major cities have surged in recent weeks, sparking both fascination and fear. These silent, hovering phenomena, linked to the intensifying ley line disruptions, have been spotted in over 30 locations worldwide. From New Delhi to New York, the orbs remain an enigma, their energy signatures resonating with frequencies identical to those of the ley line network. "They're not random," said Dr. Elise Hartman of Metasphere Research. "Our preliminary analysis shows the orbs are concentrated near major ley line intersections. Whether they're natural phenomena or technological artifacts, their connection to the ongoing crisis is undeniable." Public reaction to the orbs has been mixed. In Japan, they've become symbols of hope, with citizens gathering beneath them in silent vigil. In Texas, however, conspiracy theories have taken hold, with some claiming the orbs are advanced weapons deployed by Zion or the Reich. Social media platforms are flooded with unverified footage and speculation, fueling paranoia and fascination in equal measure. The Vatican has called for calm, urging the world to view the orbs as harbingers of understanding, not destruction. Meanwhile, Zion's God King Ramses II has declared the orbs evidence of divine alignment and announced plans to harness their energy for the benefit of humanity. Ramses has reportedly ordered the construction of specialized energy conduits around key orb sites, aiming to channel their stabilizing fields directly into Zion's ley line infrastructure. These actions have raised alarms among resistance analysts, who believe Ramses' true goal is to monopolize the orb's power to fortify his metasphere dominance. Public addresses from Zion's stronghold paint the orbs as divine tools meant to elevate humanity. Yet insiders suggest Ramses is racing against both the Reich and the Resistance to unlock their secrets first. Resistance leaders, however, warn that the orbs could be part of a larger, more dangerous scheme tied to the Mars uplink. With tensions rising, scientists and metaphysical scholars alike race to unravel the mystery of the orbs. Some propose they are precursors to a larger cosmic event, perhaps signaling the return of the Annunaki or an awakening within the ley line network itself. Others, however, warn that their presence may herald a deeper catastrophe, a last warning before Earth's fragile energy matrix collapses completely. Are they sentient? Are they tools of the Annunaki? Or are they something entirely unknown? For now, humanity can only watch and wait as the orbs continue their silent vigil over an increasingly chaotic Earth. Intro Extra, Intelligence Snapshot, Orb Energy Signatures. Preliminary scans of the orbs reveal energy signatures that are both eerily familiar and completely alien. Resonating at the same frequencies as Earth's ley line network, the orbs appear to amplify the disruptions already plaguing the planet. However, deeper analysis shows their energy fields create pockets of localized stability, as though counteracting the chaos they amplify elsewhere. Experts are divided on the implications. Some theorize the orbs are Annunaki constructs designed to monitor or repair ley line anomalies. Others suggest they may be connected to a previously unknown faction tied to Earth's ancient past. Among the most controversial theories is the notion that the orbs are sentient entities, responding to the planet's escalating crisis with actions humanity has yet to comprehend. Additional data from resistance outposts near orb sites suggest that these phenomena may emit subliminal frequencies, subtle waves that affect human perception and behavior. In some locations, reports of heightened aggression or paranoia coincide with orb appearances, sowing distrust and exacerbating tensions between factions already on edge. In other areas, these waves seem to foster an almost eerie calm and cooperation, briefly uniting rival factions in moments of shared focus or tranquility. Analysts speculate that these effects could be intentional, with the orbs manipulating emotions to test humanity's capacity for unity and conflict. The dichotomy deepens as factions attempt to decipher whether the orb's influence is a warning, a tool, or something far more insidious. This dichotomy only deepens the mystery. Resistance analysts caution against viewing the orbs as saviors. "We don't know what they are or what they want," said Tasha Avonen during a recent briefing. Their energy stabilizations could be a precursor to something far more catastrophic. Until we understand their purpose, we must remain vigilant. Narrative timestamp, 2086, Resistance Headquarters, Himalayan Vault. The room was charged with a tension Krishna Patel could feel as she entered the central war chamber. Holographic maps of Earth's ley lines and orb sightings floated above the circular table, their glowing tendrils intertwining like veins of a living organism. Around the table sat leaders from the Resistance, the Nordic Alliance, the Lone Star Armada, and Chipan. "This isn't a coincidence," Freya Anderson of the Nordic Alliance began, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the storm brewing outside. "The orbs are appearing at critical ley line intersections. Whether they're allies or adversaries, we must treat their arrival as a turning point." A turning point for what? Eva Morales of the Lone Star Armada leaned forward, her voice laced with frustration. "We don't even know if these things are alive, let alone what they want." Greta Heller's voice cut through the debate. "That's why we're here. The orbs are connected to the ley line crisis, and we need to figure out how. Fast." "Tasha, what do we know?" Tasha Avonen, the Resistance's chief analyst, activated a display showing energy readings from the orbs. Their signatures match the ley line network, but they're also generating a stabilizing field. It's as if they're holding the network together while amplifying its disruptions elsewhere. "The pattern is too precise to be accidental, and too dangerous to ignore," Krishna added. "If these orbs are linked to the Annunaki or another faction, we need answers before Ramses or the Reich weaponize them." Freya nodded. "Chipan's archives mention luminous phenomena like this in ancient texts. If these are tied to Earth's past, the answers may lie in our oldest histories." Earlier references to the orbs in Resistance records hint at similar phenomena recorded during the first ley line manipulations by ancient civilizations. These parallels could provide invaluable context for understanding their role in Earth's current crisis. Or our deepest fears, Eva muttered. Whatever they are, we're running out of time. The discussion deepened as new data streamed in from field agents. Orb activity near Zion's stronghold had increased dramatically, and sightings near Tesla disruptor sites suggested a potential interaction between the orbs and human technology. Theories abounded, but for Krishna, one thing was clear. The orbs weren't just reacting to Earth's crisis, they were part of it. Expanded journal entry. The orbs are unlike anything I've ever encountered. They hover in silence, yet their presence feels deafening. They are light and shadow, order and chaos. I can't decide whether they're here to help us or to witness our fall. What strikes me most is their stillness. In a world unraveling with every ley line surge, they remain unmoved, untouched by the chaos around them. It's as if they're waiting, but for what? A signal? A decision? An end? Lord Krishna once told me that balance demands observation as much as action. Perhaps the orbs are a reflection of this truth, a mirror held up to humanity's choices. But mirrors do not act, they only reveal. If the orbs are watching, then what they see may determine our future more than anything we do. I can't shake the feeling that they are ancient, older than the Annunaki, older even than the ley lines themselves. Perhaps they are tied to the Silurians, the fabled ancient race that some believe predates all known civilizations. The carvings and myths scattered across Earth often depict glowing spheres. Could these orbs be their legacy, waiting for humanity to notice what was left behind? They resonate with a frequency that feels familiar yet alien, as if they are tied to Earth's memory. Are they guardians, judges, or something beyond our understanding? Whatever the answer, they are here now, and they are not leaving. New reports suggest the orbs respond, subtly but unmistakably, to human proximity. In areas of conflict, their energy intensifies, sometimes sparking violent surges or sudden eerie calm. I've seen this effect myself. Two factions ready to tear each other apart paused, transfixed, as an orb passed overhead. It's almost as if they're testing us. Perhaps they are here to remind us of something we've forgotten. Or perhaps they're here to see if we're worth remembering at all. Outro Extra, Theories on the Orbs. Among the many theories circulating about the orbs, 3 stand out for their implications. 1. Annunaki constructs. This theory posits that the orbs are tools left by the Annunaki to monitor or repair the ley line network. Proponents argue that their energy stabilizations align with Annunaki technology. 2. Silurian connection. Some scholars suggest the orbs are tied to the Silurians, a hypothetical ancient race believed to have dwelled within Earth before humanity. These theorists point to ancient myths and carvings depicting glowing spheres as evidence of their existence. 3. Sentient entities. The most controversial theory claims the orbs are sentient beings responding to Earth's crisis. Their behavior, simultaneously stabilizing and disrupting ley lines, is interpreted as an attempt to communicate or intervene. Regardless of their origin, the orbs have become symbols of the planet's fragile state. Whether they bring salvation or destruction, their silent presence cannot be ignored. Adding to the mystery, data from resistance field agents suggests the orbs may interact with human thought, subtly influencing perceptions and actions. The Reich has reportedly attempted to weaponize this influence, experimenting with ways to amplify the orbs' effects on enemy forces, while Zion seeks to harness it for mass control through their VR networks. Meanwhile, the Resistance views the orb's influence with caution, fearing unintended consequences that could escalate already fragile alliances. These divergent reactions highlight the orbs as both a potential tool and a threat, deepening the uncertainty surrounding their purpose. Outro quote, "In the stillness of the unknown, the truth begins to whisper." The Codex of Chapin. Chapter 21, Shadows of the Uplink, opening quote, "To unearth the truth, one must first confront the darkness it hides within." The Codex of Zion. News article headline, Mars Uplink in Chaos. Zion and Reich forces clash in the red dust. The battle for control of Mars' ancient Annunaki uplink reached a breaking point today as Zion and Reich forces engaged in open combat. The uplink, believed to be the keystone of Earth's ley line network, has drawn both factions into a deadly struggle for supremacy. Reports from the surface describe a brutal clash, with Tesla disruptors and Zion's VR-enhanced operatives wreaking havoc in the fragile Martian environment. Resistance intelligence suggests that the uplink systems are destabilizing under the strain of the conflict, threatening to sever critical leyline connections to Earth. "This isn't just about Mars," said Greta Heller in a statement. "If the uplink collapses, the entire leyline network could go with it, triggering catastrophic energy surges worldwide." Eyewitnesses describe strange phenomena around the uplink site, including sudden energy flares and what some are calling Annunaki echoes, phantom-like apparitions resembling ancient figures. These anomalies have fueled speculation that the uplink's systems may be responding to the conflict in unexpected ways. As the situation escalates, diplomatic channels between factions remain silent. Zion, under Ramses II's leadership, claims the uplink is a divine right, with their operatives working to harness its energy as part of their VR dominance agenda. The Reich, however, sees it as a technological crown jewel capable of reshaping the balance of power on Earth. With Zion, the Reich, and the Resistance locked in a three-way struggle, the fate of the uplink and Earth's stability hangs in the balance. Intro Extra, Intelligent Snapshot, the Mars uplink's role. The Annunaki uplink on Mars is more than a relic of an ancient civilization. It is a nexus of immense power. Analysis of its energy signatures suggests that the uplink serves as both a stabilizer and amplifier for Earth's leyline network. Resistance scientists theorize that its primary function may have been to anchor leyline flows across planets, ensuring equilibrium within the solar system. Recent scans reveal that the uplink systems are under severe stress. Energy output is spiking erratically, creating surges that ripple through the ley lines back on Earth. If the uplink is damaged or destroyed, the resulting feedback could destabilize Earth's entire energy matrix, causing irreparable harm to both its metaphysical and physical structures. Encrypted transmissions intercepted by Resistance operatives hint at an uncharted subsystem within the uplink, labeled Protocol Serpent. Resistance analysts believe the protocol is tied to a safeguard mechanism designed to prevent catastrophic disruptions in the leyline network. If activated improperly, it could either stabilize Earth's energy flows or trigger a chain reaction of destabilization, the implications of which remain uncertain. This duality underscores the uplink's vital yet perilous role in Earth's survival. Narrative timestamp 2086, Mars uplink site. The Martian sky was a tapestry of chaos, its red dust swirling violently as Tesla disruptors clashed with Zion's aerial drones. Krishna Patel crouched behind the jagged remains of an ancient Annunaki structure, her breathing shallow as she surveyed the battlefield. Around her, Resistance fighters moved in precise formations, their gear adapted for the harsh environment. "We've got less than an hour before the uplink destabilizes completely." Tasha Ivonen's voice crackled through Krishna's calm. "You need to get inside and secure Protocol Serpent." "Easier said than done," Krishna muttered, her gaze fixed on the uplink's towering spire. Energy flares erupted from its apex, casting eerie shadows over the battlefield. The bursts of light seemed to synchronize with the movement of nearby combatants, as though the uplink were responding to the chaos around it. Factions on all sides appeared wary of the uplink's growing instability, their actions becoming more frantic as the structure's hum grew louder, vibrating through the ground. She adjusted her oxygen mask and signaled to her team, "We move on my mark." The Resistance's plan was simple in theory: infiltrate the uplink, bypass its ancient security systems, and secure whatever secrets Protocol Serpent held. In practice, the task was anything but. Zion's operatives, enhanced with neural VR overlays, moved with inhuman precision, exploiting every strategic advantage as their drones scanned for weak points in Resistance formations. Reich soldiers, meanwhile, deployed Tesla disruptors that turned the Martian surface into a deadly lattice of electric fields, forcing their adversaries into desperate, chaotic maneuvers. Resistance fighters countered with hit-and-run tactics, leveraging the battlefield's jagged terrain to evade both factions' onslaughts. "Zion is breaching the western quadrant," one of the operatives reported. "They're moving fast." "Hold your ground," Krishna commanded, her voice steady. "We can't let them reach the uplink first." As they advanced, Krishna couldn't shake the sensation that they were being watched. The uplink loomed like a sentinel, its surface etched with Annunaki glyphs that pulsed faintly as if alive. Energy flares from the spire intensified, casting fleeting shadows that seemed to move with intent. Narrative timestamp continued. 2086, Mars uplink site summoning her resolve. Krishna led her team into the uplink's shadow. Inside, the air was cold and heavy, filled with the hum of ancient machinery. The team spread out, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. "I've found the interface," one of the operatives called out, gesturing to a console embedded in the wall. Krishna approached, her hands trembling as she activated the system. Holographic symbols filled the air, their patterns shifting in mesmerizing complexity. "Protocol Serpent," Krishna whispered, her eyes scanning the symbols. Her breath caught as she realized the gravity of what she was seeing. These glyphs, pulsating with faint energy, seemed to resonate with the very ley lines tethering Earth to the uplink. Was this a key to stabilizing the crisis, or a Pandora's box waiting to be unleashed? Krishna's mind raced with possibilities, the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. The decisions she made here would ripple across the planet, shaping its fate in ways she could barely comprehend. The interface responded, revealing a series of encrypted files. As she began decoding them, the uplink's hum grew louder, its vibrations resonating through the floor. "Something's wrong," Tasha's voice warned. "The energy readings are spiking. You need to get out of there." "Not yet," Krishna replied, her focus unwavering. The files contained fragments of a message, their meaning elusive but urgent. She pieced them together, her heart racing as the words took shape. "The Serpent watches. The Nexus is the key." Before she could process the message, a blinding light filled the chamber. Krishna shielded her eyes, her body trembling as an otherworldly voice echoed through the uplink. "Who dares disturb the balance?" The voice was neither Annunaki nor human, its tone resonating with a power that seemed to bypass her senses and strike directly at her soul. It was as though the very air around her pulsed with meaning, vibrating in sync with her racing heartbeat. A chill ran down her spine, and she felt a weight pressing against her chest, a pressure both physical and metaphysical. Her mind flitted between awe and terror, her instincts screaming to flee even as her resolve forced her to stand firm, rooted to the moment. Krishna's breath caught as a figure materialized within the light, its form indistinct but radiating authority. "State your purpose," the voice commanded. "I seek balance," Krishna replied, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "Earth is in crisis. We need your guidance." The figure's presence intensified, the light around it pulsing in time with the uplink's hum. "The serpent's shadow falls long," it intoned. "Balance is not granted. It is earned." The light dimmed and the figure faded, leaving Krishna alone with the encrypted files. She clutched the data slate tightly, her mind raced. Whatever Protocol Serpent was, it held answers that Earth desperately needed. But unlocking its secrets would demand more than she could foresee. Expanded journal entry: "Mars feels like a dream, one filled with shadows and echoes. The uplink's corridors hum with a life of their own, ancient and unyielding. I can still hear the voice. Its words linger in my mind like a warning, or perhaps a challenge. The Serpent watches. The Nexus is the key. What does it mean? The Serpent's shadow stretches over everything we've fought for, its influence woven into the fabric of our struggle. And the Nexus, is it the ley line network or something beyond our comprehension? Ramses and the Reich see power in the uplink, a tool to be bent to their will. For Ramses, the uplink represents an opportunity to consolidate his dominance over the ley line network, enabling him to amplify Zion's VR technologies and cement his rule as divine overlord. The Reich, in contrast, seeks to exploit the uplink's energy systems to fuel their Tesla disruptor arsenal and further their campaign for technological supremacy. Both factions view the uplink as the keystone to Earth's future, a future they intend to shape by force. But I see something more, a test, perhaps even a reckoning. The uplink is alive in ways we can barely understand, its systems resonating with intent. It's as if it's waiting for something or someone to prove themselves worthy. I can't shake the feeling that we're being watched, not just by the factions warring around us, but by something older and far more powerful. The orbs, the uplink, the serpent, they're all connected, and at the center of it all is a question we've yet to answer. Are we prepared for what lies ahead? Outro Extra. Analysis of Protocol Serpent resistance. Analysts have begun dissecting the fragments retrieved from the uplink, focusing on the enigmatic Protocol Serpent. Early findings suggest that the protocol is not a single command, but a complex sequence of instructions tied to the leyline network and the Mars uplink itself. Key observations include 1. Activation requirements. Protocol Serpent appears to require simultaneous alignment of multiple leyline nodes, suggesting it was designed for a planetary-scale operation. This alignment is critical because it could either stabilize Earth's energy flows or disrupt them catastrophically, depending on the intent of the user. Factions like Zion and the Reich are already vying to manipulate these nodes, with Zion focusing on amplifying VR dominance and the Reich aiming to enhance their Tesla disruptor. Meanwhile, the Resistance is racing to prevent either side from weaponizing the uplink's immense power, as the consequences of failure could reshape Earth's destiny irrevocably. 2 potential outcomes. The encrypted files hint at both stabilizing and destructive capacities, depending on how the protocol is activated. Analysts caution that improper use could exacerbate the current crisis. 3. Annunaki intentions. The protocol's name and design imply it was a safeguard against misuse of the leyline network, possibly linked to the Serpent's influence as a corrupting force. As the Resistance races to decode the protocol, questions linger. Was Protocol Serpent meant to protect or to punish? Or perhaps it was neither, its purpose lost to time, leaving humanity to decipher its intentions amid the chaos. Could it be a final Annunaki test, meant to judge whether Earth's factions could rise above their conflicts, or a dormant safeguard against those who would corrupt the ley lines for their gain? The answers remain shrouded in mystery, hinting at revelations yet to come. And why did the uplink systems activate now, at humanity's most precarious moment? Outro quote: "The echoes of the past shape the choices of the present and the fate of the future." Resistance Archive. Bonus Chapter 7, The Veil Beyond, opening quote: "In the shadow of what is known lies the infinite potential of what could be." The Codex of Cheap. Big news article headline: Global uproar as orbs amplify chaos. Faction leaders convene in secret. The orbs, those enigmatic glowing spheres that appeared over major cities following the leyline crisis, have begun to exhibit unprecedented behavior, amplifying disruptions across Earth's fragile energy network. Reports from around the globe indicate synchronized energy surges originating from the orbs, creating what scientists describe as resonance waves that disrupt communications, alter weather patterns, and induce shifts in human cognition. Resistance operatives in India reported mass hallucinations in Mumbai, where thousands claimed to witness visions of historical figures emerging from the orb's glow. In Texas, entire leyline nodes were destabilized, forcing the Lone Star Armada to evacuate critical energy hubs. The veil effect's reach is expanding, leaving even skeptics grappling with its potential to reshape reality. "It's as if the orbs are communicating with one another," said Dr. Elise Hartman, lead researcher at Metasphere Research Institute. "The patterns we're seeing suggest intentionality, but to what end, we can only speculate." In response to the escalating chaos, an emergency summit has been called by the United Nations, bringing together leaders from Zion, the Reich, the Nordic Alliance, Texas, Chippan, and India. Delegates from the Nordic Alliance have called for a unified global response, emphasizing the need to stabilize the leyline network before the orb's effects spiral further out of control. In contrast, the Reich's representatives have accused Zion of exploiting the orbs for strategic gain, pointing to suspiciously timed energy surges near Zion-controlled regions. Texas and the Lone Star Armada remain divided, with some factions demanding immediate military action against orb sites, while others advocate for caution and further. Notably absent from the summit is Ramses II of Zion, whose cryptic declaration that the orbs are heralds of the divine has only fueled tensions. Resistance leaders have voiced concerns that Ramses is using the orbs as part of his broader strategy to consolidate power. Meanwhile, grassroots movements around the world have turned the orbs into symbols of hope and resistance. In Chippan, citizens gather beneath the orbs for vigils, believing they represent balance and harmony. In Texas, however, anti-orb militias have formed, blaming the spheres for the destabilization of their leyline nodes. As humanity stands on the precipice of either unity or collapse, one question remains: are the orbs a gift, a warning, or something far more dangerous? Short story narrative timestamp 2087, Leh Nexus, Amazon rainforest. The jungle teemed with life, but Krishna Patel felt the stillness, an unnatural silence that pressed against her as she approached the ley nexus. The air shimmered with energy, distorting the verdant landscape around her. In the distance, an orb hovered like a sentinel, its light pulsing in rhythm with the nexus's energy flows. "We're close," Krishna said, her voice barely audible over the static hum in her comm. Beside her, Tasha Ivonin adjusted the readings on her handheld scanner. "Closer than I'd like," Tasha replied. "The veil effect is off the charts here. Reality's thin enough to tear if we're not careful." "That's why we're here," Krishna said, her gaze fixed on the orb. "If we can understand the synchronization patterns, we might find a way to stabilize the network." The team moved cautiously through the underbrush, their equipment calibrated to detect even the slightest fluctuations in the Nexus's energy. Tasha's scanner emitted a low rhythmic beep, its pitch rising sharply as they neared the Nexus. "It's spiking," Tasha murmured, her tone laced with urgency. "If these readings hold, we're walking into the epicenter of a dimensional cascade." As they neared the orb, the atmosphere grew heavier, as if the air itself resisted their presence. Shadows danced across the foliage, forming shapes that seemed almost human before dissipating into the ether. "Do you feel that?" one of the operatives asked, their voice tinged with unease. "It's like we're being watched." Krishna nodded. She felt it too, a presence just beyond the edge of perception. Her skin prickled as the air seemed to hum with an almost sentient awareness, a pressure that pressed against her mind as much as her body. Every step forward felt like a challenge issued and reluctantly accepted. The orb's light intensified as they approached, casting their surroundings in a surreal glow. The Nexus's energy thrummed louder, its vibrations resonating in Krishna's chest. "Hold position," she ordered, raising a hand. "We're not alone." From the shadows emerged a figure, its form shifting between solid and ephemeral. It was humanoid but alien, its features veiled by an ever-changing shroud of light and darkness. The team froze, weapons trained on the entity. "I am the Herald of the Veil," the figure intoned, its voice a chorus of tones that defied comprehension. "Why have you come to this place?" Krishna stepped forward, her heart pounding but her resolve unshaken. "We seek to restore balance," she said. "The Nexus is destabilizing and the orbs are accelerating the chaos. We need to understand their purpose." The herald regarded her silently, its form flickering as if caught between dimensions. "Balance is not restored through understanding alone," it said. "It requires action and the willingness to bear the weight of consequences." The orbs amplify the truths within those who wield their power, magnifying intent and reshaping reality in their image. But beware, misguided intent will sow chaos rather than balance. The orbs do not choose sides, they amplify what already exists. What lies within you will determine what emerges beyond the veil. Are you prepared to face the truth beyond the veil? Krishna hesitated, the weight of the question pressing on her. Doubts flitted through her mind. Was she ready to face the truths the veil would reveal? She thought of the resistance, of the countless lives depending on her resolve. Closing her eyes for a brief moment, she steadied her breathing and met the herald's gaze. "We are," she said, her voice firm and resolute, bolstered by the certainty that whatever lay beyond the veil, it was a path she could not refuse to tread. The herald extended an arm, and from its hand radiated a beam of light that engulfed the Nexus. The jungle dissolved around them, replaced by a swirling void of energy and shadow. Krishna felt herself pulled into the veil, her senses overwhelmed by a kaleidoscope of visions, some familiar, others alien beyond comprehension. As the light subsided, Krishna found herself standing in a vast expanse of white, her team nowhere to be seen. Before her stood the herald, now fully solid and radiating an aura of ancient power. "You seek answers," it said, "but answers are not given. They are Extra 1, Intelligent Snapshot, Orb Synchronization Phenomenon. Recent data collected from global orb sites reveal a startling phenomenon. The orbs are synchronizing their energy emissions, creating what analysts are calling the veil effect. This effect appears to thin the boundary between the physical and metaphysical planes, leading to localized distortions in reality. Witnesses report surreal occurrences, time dilation, unexplained visions, and interactions with what some describe as ghostly entities. Key observations include energy resonance. The orbs emit waves that correspond to fluctuations in the ley line network, amplifying both stability and chaos depending on the region. Localized anomalies. Areas near synchronized orbs experience strange phenomena, such as individuals recalling memories not their own or perceiving alternate versions of their surroundings. Potential implications. Scholars theorize that the orb's synchronization is a precursor to a larger event, possibly tied to the Annunnaki's long-forgotten technology. Resistance analysts warn that the veil effect could have devastating consequences if left unchecked. While some factions see it as an opportunity to harness new powers, others fear it marks the beginning of an uncontrollable cascade that could rewrite the very fabric of reality. Extra 2. Cultural perspective, Xipan's orb vigils. In Xipan, the orbs have sparked a cultural movement, blending spiritual traditions and advanced technology. Citizens gather beneath the orbs nightly for vigils, seeing them as messengers of balance. Luminary projections on the city's iconic towers depict ancient glyphs believed to match orb patterns, fueling theories of a profound cosmic connection. Xipan's leaders have declared the orbs symbols of unity, urging citizens to align their intentions for peace and harmony. Community hubs have been created around orb sites, offering meditation and holographic guidance sessions designed to resonate with the orb's energy. While critics argue that this idealism ignores the orb's potential dangers, Xipan's approach has captured global attention as a model of hope amid uncertainty. Extra 3. Factional intelligence report, Reich and Zion maneuvers. Leaked intelligence reports indicate that both the Reich and Zion are actively leveraging the orbs to further their geopolitical aims. Reich operatives, under Project Strahl, have deployed specialized Tesla disruptors near orb sites, attempting to harness their energy for weapons research and territorial control. This approach has led to unstable energy surges, causing leyline disruptions that have devastated local ecosystems and displaced entire communities. In one chilling incident in Eastern Europe, a surge caused by Reich experiments wiped out communications in several villages, leaving residents to fend against a series of violent electromagnetic storms. Further reports suggest that Project Strahl is accelerating its efforts, with plans to establish permanent disruptor facilities near 3 major orb sites, a move that resistance analysts warn could destabilize ley lines on a continental scale. Meanwhile, Zion has taken a subtler, yet equally perilous path. Through their resonance protocols, Zion operatives seek to integrate orb data into their global VR network, allowing them to manipulate consciousness on a mass scale. Ramses II's declarations of divine guidance mask Zion's calculated efforts to enhance their dominance. Resistance intelligence suggests Zion's VR integration has already influenced political decisions in key territories, with local leaders unknowingly implementing Zion-aligned policies. In regions with heavy VR adoption, citizens report heightened emotional states and even altered memories, raising questions about Zion's potential to reshape societal norms through orb-enhanced VR. Both factions' actions have intensified the veil effect, risking catastrophic ripple effects across Earth's energy systems. Beyond the resistance's scope, local communities are adapting to the orbs in diverse ways. In rural regions of South America, farmers have built makeshift observatories to track the orb's movement, interpreting them as harbingers of seasonal changes. Urban centers like Mumbai, already experiencing heavy orb influence, report the rise of underground orb cults, groups claiming prophetic insights linked to the veil. These societal shifts highlight the orb's expansive and unpredictable impact, reshaping culture as much as geopolitics. Expanded journal entry. The veil realm is unlike anything I could have imagined. It feels alive, its energy resonating not just with the orbs, but with the ley lines, and perhaps something deeper still. As I stood in its swirling currents, I felt as though the entire weight of existence pressed against me. The herald's words echo endlessly. The orbs are conduits, amplifiers of intent. If that's true, then everything we think, feel, and decide carries immeasurable consequences here. How can intent, something so human and intangible, become the fulcrum upon which balance pivots? The visions were relentless. I saw faces I loved, lost moments frozen in time, and futures too fragile to grasp. I saw the herald, its form shifting between light and shadow, a being both alien and intimately tied to our fate. It seemed to watch me, its gaze piercing through my thoughts as though weighing every choice I had made. Its silence carried a question, one I didn't yet know how to answer. I saw battles raging across cities, with orb sites becoming focal points of destruction and transformation. I saw the resistance fractured under the weight of choices, each faction pulling in different directions as they fought to claim a part of the Veil's promise. But with every image, a question gnawed at me. What part of myself must I leave behind to restore balance? I saw flashes of a world consumed by chaos, the orbs glowing brighter as factions wrestled over their power, their synchronization reaching catastrophic peaks. The herald spoke of sacrifices, and as much as I hate to admit it, I can feel that truth. It's as though the veil has split me in two, forcing me to choose not just for myself, but for everyone who follows. For the resistance, for Earth, and for the fragile possibility of harmony amid the fractures. I felt the veil's pulse resonate with my heartbeat, a rhythm that seemed to echo a single truth. Intent shapes reality. The herald's cryptic presence was a reminder that my choices here would ripple far beyond the veil. I don't have the answers yet, but as I stood at the heart of the veil, I made a choice. Balance is not just a goal, it is a promise, and I intend to keep it, for the resistance, for Earth, and for the fragile possibility of harmony amid the fractures. And then there are the orbs. If they truly amplify intent, then the stakes are higher than I ever realized. The factions see them as tools to be wielded, but they are something more, something ancient, alive, and watching. Are we worthy of the power they represent, or are we doomed to destroy ourselves in their light? I don't have the answers yet, but as I stood at the heart of the veil, I made a choice. Balance is not just a goal, it is a promise, and I intend to keep it. Outro Extra, advertisement, Zion's Orb Retreats, experience enlightenment beyond the veil. Discover the ultimate journey of self-awareness with Zion's Orb Retreats. Located at exclusive orb sites across the globe, our retreats offer holographic meditation experiences. Synchronize your energy with the orbs and unlock your full potential. VR immersion therapy. Explore personalized paths to enlightenment guided by our neural systems. Sacred resonance alignment. Engage with ancient energies to harmonize your mind, body, and spirit. This isn't just a retreat. It's your path to divine connection. Our orb-aligned programs are designed for those seeking to elevate beyond the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. Testimonials from attendees describe experiences of profound clarity and life-altering visions. One participant shared, "It was like stepping into the heart of creation. I saw my past and future intertwined, and I knew I was part of something great." Critics argue Zion's retreats are nothing more than covert recruitment for their VR agenda, but participants call it a journey beyond human comprehension. In a world on the brink of chaos, Zion offers hope and the opportunity to transcend. Together, we'll transcend the veil. Together, we'll transcend the veil. Outro quote, "The orbs are not silent watchers, they are mirrors reflecting the truths we bring to them. To step through the veil is to embrace the unknown and all the truths it holds." Resistance Archive. Chapter 22, The Echoes of Creation. Opening quote, "The forces that shape worlds are neither benevolent nor malevolent. They are simply waiting for intent to give them purpose." Annunaki Codex Fragment. News article headline, "Chaos in the Skies. Orb activity escalates, triggering global fear." Date May 17, 2088. Orb activity has reached unprecedented levels, with simultaneous energy surges reported across multiple continents. Citizens across North America described skies bathed in eerie, fluctuating lights, while in South Asia, minor tremors disrupted city infrastructure, creating panic in urban centers. The synchronization patterns have brought scientists to a grim consensus. The orbs are acting with purpose. "These events are not random," said Dr. Elise Hartman, head of the Global Leyline Research Consortium. "The orbs are communicating, though their purpose remains elusive. What is clear is that their power is growing, and humanity must understand it before it's too late." Amid the chaos, political tensions have surged. The Nordic alliance accused the Reich of orchestrating energy disruptions to sabotage orb research sites in Scandinavia, while Texas escalated military drills near ley line convergence points. Meanwhile, Zion's Ramses II issued a cryptic statement, "The orbs are heralds of a new order. Embrace them or be left behind." Grassroots movements have emerged globally, with protests erupting in urban centers calling for governments to disclose classified orb data. Activists in regions like South America and Southeast Asia have begun independent investigations, mapping ley line disruptions and correlating them to orb synchronization. In Mumbai, residents formed orb resilience networks, organizing civilian patrols to monitor and report orb anomalies. Meanwhile, in Colombia, local farmers have taken a spiritual approach, interpreting orb patterns as omens and adjusting agricultural practices in response. Some communities, fearing catastrophe, have even begun rituals meant to appease the orbs. These grassroots reactions underscore humanity's desperation and ingenuity, but also highlight the uneven access to scientific resources. Resistance leaders warn that such actions could destabilize entire regions, exacerbating the crisis. As humanity teeters on the brink of understanding or annihilation, the question remains, are the orbs a path to salvation or destruction? Intro Extra, Field Report, Orb Seismic Synchronization. Recent data collected from resistance operatives in South America indicate a new phenomenon, orb seismic synchronization. Ley line convergence zones near orb sites have shown amplified tremors, some measuring up to 6.5 on the Richter scale. These tremors appear to be spatially linked, suggesting the orbs are using ley lines to communicate across vast distances. Key observations. Ley line amplification. Seismic events are concentrated around ley line intersections, indicating the orbs are actively engaging with Earth's energy grid. Temporal coordination. Tremors occur simultaneously across multiple locations, hinting at a global synchronization event. Potential consequences. Resistance scientists theorize that continued synchronization could destabilize tectonic plates, risking catastrophic geological events. Efforts to decode the orb's energy patterns are ongoing. However, the synchronization seems to be accelerating, leaving little time for detailed analysis. Some resistance scientists hypothesize that the orbs may be testing Earth's capacity for resilience, their seismic pulses acting as probes for structural integrity. If these phenomena represent a precursor to a larger event, perhaps a dimensional shift or a collapse of energy harmonics, humanity must act quickly to understand or mitigate their effect. Narrative timestamp 2088, Northern Ley Nexus, Siberian Wilderness. The Siberian wind bit through layers of insulation as Krishna Patel and her team trudged through the snow. The Northern Ley Nexus loomed ahead, a jagged structure of crystalline spires that seemed to hum in defiance of the frozen landscape. Above them, an orb hovered, its light piercing the swirling snow like a beacon. "We're close," Krishna said, her voice muffled by the storm. Tasha Ivonin, walking beside her, checked the scanner in her gloved hands. "Closer than the ley lines can handle," Tasha replied. "The orb's resonance is spiking. If we don't stabilize the nexus, this entire region could collapse into a seismic freefall." Krishna nodded, her mind racing. The resistance had scrambled to reach this nexus after reports indicated the orbs were accelerating their synchronization. Siberia was only the latest flashpoint in a growing list of crises. The nexus's destabilization wasn't just a local threat. It could ripple across the ley line network, magnifying the veil effect worldwide. "Any sign of interference?" Krishna asked. The question hung heavy with unspoken implications. Zion, the Reich, even rogue factions could be exploiting the instability. "Nothing yet," Tasha said, though her voice carried doubt. "But these readings, it's like the orb is calling something." They pressed forward, their shadows stretching across the ice as the nexus came into view. A deep hum vibrated through the ground, resonating with the orb's pulsing light. Krishna felt it in her chest, a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with her heartbeat. "Hold position," Krishna ordered as the team reached the base of the nexus. The crystalline spires hummed louder, their light intensifying with each pulse from the orb. Krishna stepped forward cautiously, her breath visible in the freezing air. "Something's wrong," Tasha said, her scanner emitting a sharp beep. "The nexus isn't stabilizing, it's amplifying the resonance." Before Krishna could respond, the ground beneath them shook violently. The team scrambled for footing as a fissure cracked through the ice, glowing with a faint blue light. The orb's light flared, and for a moment the storm seemed to still. From the fissure emerged a figure, its form humanoid but shimmering like a mirage. It spoke, its voice resonating with the hum of the nexus. "You come to mend what was broken, but do you understand what you seek to repair?" Krishna froze, her mind reeling. The figure radiated an aura that felt both alien and ancient, its presence commanding attention. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice steady despite the turmoil around her. The figure tilted its head, its shimmering form shifting with the nexus's light. "We are the echoes," it said. "Fragments of the first intent, lingering in the currents of what you call ley lines. The orbs are our anchors, and this nexus is a wound upon the harmony we once knew. We were here before, when the Annunaki wove their designs into your world. What you seek to mend is a creation far older than humanity. The Annunaki did not create us, but they used us, used the ley lines, to mold your world to their vision. What they left behind was neither balance nor chaos, but the seeds of both. The orbs are the tools and the judges of intent. Your kind has misunderstood them for centuries, but now, with synchronization near completion, their purpose nears revelation. To heal is to understand. To understand is to sacrifice. The harmony you seek will demand much, for it was shaped by forces beyond your comprehension. Will you give what is needed? Your intent must be pure, for the orbs amplify all that is within you: fear, hope, greed, and courage alike. Balance, when amplified, can reshape the world. Misalignment will unmake it. Expanded journal entry. The Siberian Nexus was unlike anything I had ever seen. The crystalline spires seemed alive, pulsating with the orb's resonance. But it wasn't just the sights or the sounds, it was the feeling. Standing there, I could sense the weight of something far older than humanity, something tied to the very fabric of our existence. And then there was the echo. Its presence defied logic, a being that seemed to exist both within and beyond the nexus. It called itself a fragment of the first intent. What does that even mean? The orbs are amplifiers, conduits of intent, but whose intent are they amplifying? Ours, the Annunnaki's, or something else entirely? The echo's words haunt me. To heal is to understand. To understand is to sacrifice. What sacrifices are we prepared to make? What sacrifices will we be forced to make? The orb's resonance isn't just destabilizing ley lines, it's destabilizing us. Every choice feels heavier, as if the consequences ripple not just through time, but through existence itself. I don't know if we're ready for what lies ahead. But ready or not, the orbs are forcing our hand. And the question I keep asking myself is, will our intent save us or destroy us? Outro Extra. Hypotheses on the echoes. Resistant scholars are racing to understand the nature of the echoes and their connection to the orbs and ley lines. 3 leading hypotheses have emerged. 1. Annunaki legacy. The echoes are remnants of Annunaki consciousness, left behind to guide or test humanity's stewardship of the ley line network. Their cryptic messages suggest they possess knowledge of Earth's energy grid that predates human civilization. 2. Ley line sentience. The echoes are not external entities, but manifestations of the ley lines themselves, born from millennia of energy flow. If true, their emergence may signal that the ley lines are reacting to humanity's interference. 3. Multidimensional entities. The echoes originate from beyond our dimension, drawn to Earth through the veil effect and the orb's synchronization. Their purpose remains unclear, but their presence suggests a broader cosmic significance to the ley line. Each hypothesis raises as many questions as it answers, but one thing is clear. The echoes are key to understanding the orb's purpose and the path forward for humanity. Outro quote. The echoes remind us that every choice shapes the currents of creation. What we choose now will echo forever. Resistance Archive. Chapter 23, The Cost of Harmony. Opening quote, the greatest burden is not in choosing, but in understanding the weight of the choice. Resistance Codex. News article, headline, Global Tensions Mount as Orb Synchronization Nears Completion. Date, June 10, 2088. The countdown to what scientists are calling the Orb Event Horizon has begun. With synchronization levels approaching critical mass, nations and factions scramble to respond to the escalating crisis. The veil effect, previously contained to ley line nexus points, is now spilling into major urban centers, creating unprecedented phenomena. Reports from Cairo describe shimmering rifts opening in the sky, while entire neighborhoods in Berlin experienced unexplained temporal shifts. We're seeing time pockets, said Dr. Elise Hartman of the Global Ley Line Research Consortium. These are areas where time seems to dilate or contract unpredictably. It's as if the orbs are testing the limits of our dimensional integrity. Political alliances are fracturing under the strain. The Nordic Alliance has issued an ultimatum to the Reich, accusing it of sabotaging stabilization efforts in Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, Texas has deployed its armada to key ley line intersections, escalating tensions with the CFS. Reports indicate Texas forces have begun experimenting with adaptive harmonic stabilizers, designed to protect their infrastructure, but inadvertently intensifying ley line disruptions in neighboring areas. Zion remains defiant, with Ramses II declaring that the orbs are harbingers of a new era. Insiders reveal that Zion's neural VR systems are now integrating real-time orb resonance data, amplifying their ability to influence public perception and manipulate factional dynamics. Resistance leaders warn that these advancements could shift the balance of power, making Zion's influence nearly unassailable. Grassroots responses are equally volatile. In Mumbai, resilient circles are forming in response to orb anomalies, combining traditional practices with modern scientific monitoring to protect communities. In South America, citizen scientists have begun distributing orb behavior tracking kits, sharing findings on global networks to predict ley line disruptions. Across the globe, protests demanding transparency about government plans have reached a fever pitch, with resistance leaders warning of mass unrest if clarity is not provided. In Mumbai, resilient circles are forming in response to orb anomalies, combining traditional practices with modern scientific monitoring to protect communities. In South America, citizen scientists have begun distributing orb behavior tracking kits, sharing findings on global networks to predict ley line disruptions. Across the globe, protests demanding transparency about government plans have reached a fever pitch, with resistance leaders warning of mass unrest if clarity is not provided. Intro Extra. Scientific advisory: the dimensional threshold. As synchronization levels near 98%, resistance scientists are urging caution. New data suggests that the orbs are exerting increasing influence over dimensional boundaries, creating what researchers term the dimensional threshold. This phenomenon manifests in localized anomalies, including time pockets, areas where time flows irregularly, leading to both rapid aging and time stasis effects. Spatial distortions. Buildings and natural features appear to shift positions or overlap with alternate versions of themselves. Human perception shifts. Witnesses report hearing voices or seeing images that seem to originate from alternate realities. Resistance scientists are now exploring whether these anomalies are byproducts of the orb's synchronization or intentional disruptions designed to reshape Earth's dimensional balance. Early findings suggest that the phenomena are intensifying in areas with high human activity, raising concerns that humanity itself might be a catalyst for the instability. The resistance emphasizes the urgency of stabilizing key ley line nodes to mitigate these effects. If left unchecked, the dimensional threshold could cascade, resulting in a complete breakdown of Earth's dimensional cohesion. Efforts to deploy new harmonic stabilizers to nexus points have met with limited success, as the orb's resonance appears to adapt to counteract interference. Narrative timestamp 2088, Western Nexus, Rocky Mountains. Krishna Patel's breath fogged in the cool mountain air as she surveyed the barren expanse before her. The Western Ley Nexus lay dormant, a jagged gash of blackened stone flanked by glowing fissures that pulsed with orb resonance. Her team, a mix of seasoned resistance operatives and newly recruited experts, stood silently, their unease palpable. "This nexus hasn't shown activity for months," Tasha Vonin said, her voice tense as she adjusted her scanner. "Now it's off the charts. Whatever's happening, the synchronization is using this site as an anchor." Krishna nodded, her gaze fixed on the orb hovering above the nexus. Its light was unnervingly steady, a stark contrast to the chaotic resonance that shook the ground beneath their feet. "We're not alone," she said, her tone low but firm. "Prepare for contact." As if in response, the orb flared, bathing the area in a searing white light. The team shielded their eyes, their instruments crackling with static. When the light subsided, a figure stood at the heart of the nexus, its silhouette humanoid but distinctly alien. Unlike the echoes Krishna had encountered in Siberia, this being radiated a controlled power, its form solid and precise. "You stand at the edge of what was intended and what was lost," the being said, its voice resonating in a deep, harmonic timbre. "The ley lines are not mere conduits, they are veins of intent. The Annunaki wove them to reflect the balance they sought, but could never achieve. They failed because their intent was fractured, shaped by ambition as much as wisdom. Each disruption, every synchronization, is a reflection of what your kind desires yet cannot reconcile." Krishna stepped forward, her resolve unshaken. "Because the cost of doing nothing is too great. The orbs are destabilizing our world. We need answers, and we need them now. The being's eyes, or what Krishna assumed were its eyes, gleamed with a faint blue light. Your intent is noble, but intent alone does not shape outcomes. The orbs respond to harmony and dissonance alike. What lies within you will determine what emerges beyond this threshold. To restore balance, you must relinquish the fragments of fear and greed that cling to you. Only then can the harmony you seek emerge. Before Krishna could reply, the ground beneath them rumbled violently. The nexus's glowing fissures widened, and a low hum filled the air, resonating in perfect sync with the orb's light. The being extended an arm, its gesture both commanding and cautionary. Choose carefully, it said. The harmony you seek will demand balance, and balance always comes at a cost. Remember, intent without clarity leads to ruin. A sudden gust of wind swept across the nexus, and with it came a wave of energy that seemed to pierce through Krishna's body. She gasped, feeling her thoughts pulled into a stream of visions, the world as it was, as it could be, and as it might unravel. The orb's resonance grew louder, forming a chaotic symphony that merged with the being's words. The balance you seek is not for you alone to find, the being said, stepping closer. It is woven through all who stand here and all who have come before. Intent shapes resonance, and resonance shapes reality. But beware, resonance without unity fractures the world. Krishna's team exchanged uneasy glances. Tasha Ivonen furrowed her brow, gripping her scanner tightly as though it could provide answers. If intent is what shapes this, then who decides whose intent matters most? She muttered, half to herself. Beside her, Elias Carter shifted uneasily, his gaze fixed on the orb. What if this is all a test? He asked, his voice low and strained. What if we're the ones amplifying the dissonance just by being here? Krishna turned to face them, her tone measured despite the growing weight of the being's presence. How do we unify? She asked, her voice carrying the resolve they needed, but didn't yet feel. The being extended its hand toward the orb, its light intensifying. Through sacrifice and understanding, it said. The orbs are not judges, they are mirrors. What they reveal will depend on what you are willing to give. The fissures at the nexus pulsed brighter, and the air grew thick with energy. Krishna closed her eyes, feeling the tension in the team behind her. We'll find a way, she said quietly, more to herself than to the being. The being tilted its head slightly, its form flickering. Then step forward and let your intent be known. Expanded journal entry. The Rocky Mountain Nexus felt different. There was a finality to it, as if this was the place where all the threads of the ley lines converged. The orb's light was steady, almost serene, yet its presence carried an unspoken warning. And then there was the being. It wasn't like the echoes we encountered before. This one felt more purposeful, as if it had been waiting, not for us, but for this moment. Its words still echo in my mind. The harmony you seek will demand balance, and balance always comes at a cost. What cost are we prepared to pay? What cost will we be forced to pay? Every step we take brings us closer to understanding the orbs, but it also reveals how little control we truly have. The orbs amplify what lies within us. If we're not careful, they will amplify our worst impulses as much as our best intentions. The being's warning about fear and greed lingers in my thought. These emotions, deeply rooted in us all, don't just shape individuals. They ripple outward, influencing the resistance itself. We've seen this firsthand. Factions split over mistrust, missions compromised by ambition. If the orbs truly mirror our intent, then every fracture within us becomes a fracture in the ley lines, destabilizing everything we fight to protect. To restore balance, we must first confront these flaws within ourselves. The team is rattled, and I don't blame them. We're standing at the threshold of something far greater than ourselves. The choices we make here won't just shape our world, they'll shape everything. And yet, despite the uncertainty, I can't help but feel that we're meant to be here. That this moment was always going to happen. The question now is, what will we choose? And more importantly, who will we become? Perhaps the being is right. Balance demands sacrifice, but the cost feels immeasurable. For the resistance to succeed, we must become more than individuals. We must become united. Outro Extra. Cultural snapshot. Resilience movements across the globe. Grassroots resilience movements are adapting to the orbs' growing influence. In the Nordic territories, community leaders are integrating orb synchronization data into agricultural and resource planning, creating what they call lay adaptive ecosystems. These systems aim to harness the orb's energy for sustainable development while mitigating risks. In contrast, regions like the American Midwest have seen the rise of orb purist sects, groups that view the orbs as divine arbiters. These sects hold ceremonies to welcome the synchronization and believe humanity's role is to submit to the orb's judgment. In urban centers like Berlin and New York, tech-driven groups have emerged, using AI to predict orb activity and develop strategies for integrating orb phenomena into daily life. These innovations range from orb-compatible architecture to predictive algorithms designed to stabilize energy flows around ley lines. While some communities embrace these advancements, seeing them as a beacon of hope amidst the chaos, others express deep skepticism. Critics argue that these technologies concentrate power in the hands of corporations and governments, potentially creating new inequities. Resistance leaders have also voiced concern, warning that reliance on such systems might deepen humanity's dependency on unpredictable orb phenomena, making the world more vulnerable to synchronization events. The dichotomy between adaptation and submission highlights humanity's struggle to understand its place in a world reshaped by forces beyond comprehension. As the synchronization nears completion, these movements underscore both the ingenuity and desperation of a species on the brink of transformation. Outro quote: "Harmony demands sacrifice, but the true cost is in understanding what must be given." Resistance Archive. Chapter 24, The Prism of Control. Chapter 24, Enhanced, The Prism of Control, Part 1. Opening quote: "When the world is in flux, power belongs to those who can shape perception." Zion Manifesto 2082. News article headline: Virtual uprisings emerge as VR platforms merge with orb resonance. Date: June 25, 2088. In a rapidly destabilizing world, the intersection of virtual reality and orb synchronization has created both opportunity and chaos. Zion's neural VR network, heralded as humanity's next evolutionary step, has become the epicenter of a growing digital revolution. Reports from across the globe describe VR users experiencing unprecedented levels of immersion and an alarming increase in orb-induced phenomena. "It's not just VR anymore," said Dr. Isha Bellamy, a sociologist studying virtual culture. "The orb's resonance is amplifying the subconscious of every user. People aren't just logging in, they're connecting to something far deeper than technology." Resistance leaders have voiced concern that Zion's advancements are destabilizing societal norms. Recently leaked documents suggest that Zion is using orb resonance to seed ideologies within VR simulations, subtly influencing users' perceptions and actions. Ramses II, Zion's enigmatic leader, dismissed these accusations, declaring, "The synchronization of mind and machine is humanity's ultimate destiny." Observers warn that Zion's influence is spreading unchecked. In Scandinavia, factions aligned with the Nordic Alliance have begun banning Zion's VR systems, citing their destabilizing effect on local governance. Meanwhile, in the South American Free Coalition, grassroots movements are hacking into Zion's networks, attempting to counter its ideological programming. This escalating pushback underscores the deep divisions forming across the globe. Virtual uprisings have erupted in major VR hubs like Neo-Tokyo and Silicon Haven, with users banding together to challenge Zion's dominance. These digital insurrections are spilling into the physical world, as protests erupt in cities where VR adoption is highest. Resistance operatives report that these uprisings are both a source of hope and risk, offering glimpses of mass dissent while exposing individuals to Zion's retaliatory control measures. Critics have also pointed out the rise of resonance addiction, where individuals become so deeply immersed in Zion's VR environments that they neglect their real-world responsibilities. Cases of physical deterioration and psychological fragmentation are climbing, prompting public health officials to demand stronger safeguards or outright restrictions on neural VR systems. Zion has refused to comment on these concerns, claiming that user freedom is paramount to its mission. Intro Extra Pop Culture Snapshot: The rise of resonance. Art orb resonance is reshaping global art and entertainment, sparking the emergence of a new cultural movement, resonance art. This avant-garde style combines traditional mediums with orb-enhanced VR experiences, immersing audiences in multisensory narratives. The Hollow Veil, a VR production by Cheapen's famed director Lee Shun, explores themes of loss and connection through interactive environments synced with local ley line energy. Echography, a visual medium pioneered in Europe, where orb resonance transforms static images into dynamic, evolving narratives. The Unity Concert, Zion's global event, merges live performances with orb-enhanced VR projections, creating a shared experience that transcends borders. Critics, however, argue that such events serve as subtle propaganda for Zion's ideology. The cultural implications of resonance art are profound. While some hail it as the next great artistic revolution, others worry it represents a dangerous convergence of creativity and control. Resistance analysts warn that resonance art could normalize Zion's ideological seeding, blurring the line between art and manipulation. This concern is especially pressing as orb resonance amplifies the emotional and cognitive impact of these experiences, leaving audiences more susceptible to Zion's influence. Grassroots counter-movements are emerging in response. In India, local artists are creating anti-resonance pieces that deliberately disrupt orb synchronization, offering alternative narratives grounded in cultural identity. Similarly, underground networks in the American Midwest are experimenting with deconstructed VR, stripping orb resonance from artistic creations to promote critical thinking. These efforts highlight the growing cultural battle over the orb's influence, with creativity itself becoming a contested space. Moreover, independent creators have begun leveraging resonance art as a means of dissent. In Eastern Europe, a guerrilla VR project titled Fragments of Freedom invites users to explore memories from regions most impacted by Zion's ideological reach. This interactive experience forces participants to confront the personal costs of conformity and rebellion. Resistance leaders have praised such efforts, noting their potential to inspire grassroots resistance even within Zion-dominated platforms. Additionally, the cultural schism is widening as traditionalists push back against the growing dominance of resonance art. Communities in rural Africa and South America are reviving oral storytelling and analog art forms as acts of defiance, framing their movements as a return to authenticity in the face of technological encroachment. Some of these efforts are gaining traction among younger audiences disillusioned with hyper-technological immersion, hinting at a potential cultural renaissance that could challenge Zion's ideological monopoly. Narrative timestamp 2088, Neo-Tokyo Nexus, Orb Horizon Virtual Interface. Krishna Patel adjusted her VR interface, the sleek headset syncing with the Resistance's secure uplink. Around her, the Neo-Tokyo Nexus was a dazzling mosaic of neon and mirrored surfaces, a stark contrast to the barren wilderness of the Rocky Mountains. Yet here in the Orb Horizon simulation, the stakes were just as high. "Are you in?" Tasha's voice crackled through the comlink. Krishna nodded, though she knew her teammate couldn't see it. The simulation's construct shimmered as the system calibrated to her presence. "I'm picking up faint interference," Tasha added. Her tone was edged with worry, a sharp contrast to her usual composure. "It's not like anything we've encountered before." "Same here," Elias chimed in, his voice tense. "It's almost like the system is adapting to us." "Stay sharp, Krishna. We've faced worse and come through," Krishna interjected, her voice calm but firm. "Keep your focus. We've prepared for this, and we're not backing down now." "I'm in," Krishna said, scanning the surreal landscape. Neo-Tokyo's digital counterpart was alive with orb resonance, its pulsating glow weaving through the towering virtual skyscrapers. Resistance hackers had identified this VR hub as a critical node in Zion's neural network, a place where orb synchronization and Zion's ideological seeding converged. Ahead, a massive structure loomed, Zion's virtual cathedral. Its spires glowed with orb resonance, their light casting shifting patterns across the simulation. As Krishna approached, a strange sensation washed over her, an almost magnetic pull that made her pause. The resonance wasn't just visual. It thrummed through her, stirring emotions she couldn't quite place, an odd mix of awe and dread. She felt as though the cathedral was watching her, its presence both ancient and inscrutable. Whispers at the edge of her perception spoke of something more, an unseen connection between the orbs and Zion's deepest strategies. It wasn't just a node. This place was a conduit to something vast and unfathomable, a nexus where control and revelation intertwined, waiting for her next move. "You shouldn't be here," a voice intoned, deep and resonant. A figure materialized, humanoid yet shimmering with orb-like patterns. It was a security AI, but unlike any Krishna had encountered before. This one felt alive. Krishna's breath caught as she studied the figure. There was something more beneath its surface. Its movements fluid, its gaze calculated. Was it truly just a defense mechanism, or was it a reflection of something greater within Zion's designs? The thought unsettled her. If Zion's creations were evolving, what did that mean for the resistance? For humanity, we're here for the truth, Krishna said, standing her ground. Zion's manipulations end here. The AI tilted its head, its form flickering. Truth is subjective. Zion provides clarity. But before Krishna could reply, the AI lashed out, the construct around her warping into a chaotic maze of shifting pathways and blinding light. Her team's voices crackled in her earpiece, distorted by the sudden surge in resonance. "Krishna, watch out!" Elias shouted as a wave of energy surged toward her. Krishna dove aside, her interface recalibrating to counter the disorienting attack. She could feel the orb resonance intensifying, pushing the limits of her neural connection. "Focus," Krishna barked, regaining her footing. The resistance had prepared for Zion's defenses, but nothing could have fully anticipated the orb's influence. She reached for the disruptor module, a device designed to sever Zion's connection to the node. The AI advanced, its form shifting as it absorbed the resonance. "You think you can undo what has already begun?" it said, its voice merging with the simulation's hum. "The orbs are inevitable. Zion is inevitable." "Nothing is inevitable," Krishna shot back, activating the module hummed to life, its energy pulse colliding with the AI's form. For a moment, the simulation fractured, the construct flickering as the node's resonance wavered. "We've got the data," Tasha's voice cut through the chaos. "Fall back!" Krishna hesitated, her gaze lingering on the AI as it struggled to reconstitute itself. "We're not done yet," she said quietly, but she obeyed, retreating as the simulation began to stabilize. The data they had secured was more than a mere snapshot of Zion's activity. It contained the encryption keys to decode their orb resonance algorithms. If analyzed correctly, it could reveal how Zion's manipulations were influencing both VR users and the leyline networks. Krishna envisioned the resistance leveraging this data to break Zion's hold on key factions, exposing the ideological programming embedded in their VR system. It wasn't just a victory, it was the foundation of a counterstrike, a pivotal step toward understanding and dismantling Zion's stranglehold on reality. Expanded journal entry, Neo-Tokyo's virtual nexus was unlike anything I've ever seen. The lines between reality and simulation have never been so blurred. Zion's neural network isn't just technology, it's a manifestation of their ideology, amplified and perfected by the orbs. Every user plugged into their system becomes part of something far bigger than themselves, whether they know it or not. The AI we encountered wasn't just a defense mechanism. It was alive in its own way. Its words haunt me. Truth is subjective. Zion provides clarity. What does that even mean? Clarity for whom? At what cost? And what if we're playing into Zion's hands, accelerating the orb's influence by acting too aggressively? The weight of that possibility gnaws at me, a constant reminder that even victory might carry a cost we can't foresee. The orbs are changing everything. They're not just amplifiers of intent. They're reshaping the rules of existence, both physical and virtual. And Zion knows that they're using the orbs to rewrite reality, one simulation at a time. If we can't stop them, humanity might lose more than its freedom. We might lose the very concept of choice. As I reflect, I can't help but think about my team. Tasha's calm determination in the face of the unknown, Elias's sharp instincts guiding us through the chaos. They're more than just allies. They're the reason we're still standing. But I see the strain in their eyes, the weight of every choice we've made. How long can we hold together under this pressure? The orbs amplify intent, but they also magnify fear. It's not just the system we're fighting, it's the cracks forming within ourselves. Yet somehow I still believe in us, because if we falter, the world might not have another chance. Outro Extra, Hypotheses on VR-enhanced synchronization resistance. Scientists have identified 3 potential outcomes of VR-enhanced orb synchronization. 1. Ideological convergence. Zion's manipulation of orb resonance within VR could create a unified global ideology, erasing cultural and individual diversity. 2. Dimensional spillover. Prolonged synchronization might cause VR constructs to influence the physical world, leading to unpredictable dimensional anomalies. This outcome, in particular, has drawn the most concern from the resistance. If virtual constructs begin to reshape the tangible world, it could render the boundaries between realities irreversibly blurred, destabilizing societies on a fundamental level. Resistance leaders fear this could lead to irreversible chaos, leaving no safe ground for rebellion or freedom. 3. Neural dependence. Humanity's increasing reliance on orb-augmented VR could create a dependency so profound that unplugging becomes impossible, rendering individuals unable to function outside the simulation. Each outcome presents profound risks, underscoring the urgency of resistance efforts to counter Zion's control and uncover the orb's ultimate purpose. Outro quote: "The greatest battles are not fought with weapons, but within the realms of perception." Annals of the Resistance. Bonus Chapter 8, Echoes of the Nile. Opening quote: "The sands of time erase nothing. They merely bury the echoes until we choose to uncover them." Ancient Proverb. Big News article headline: Orb surges detected along Nile leyline nexus. Date: August 2nd, 2088. Cairo. Scientists stationed near the remnants of the Great Pyramid complex have reported unprecedented orb resonance surges rippling along the Nile's leyline network. These disturbances have ignited fears of escalating leyline instability as geopolitical tensions around the orbs continue to rise. "We've never seen energy readings like this before," stated Dr. Karim Abbas, lead researcher for the Unified Scientific Coalition. "The orb's interaction with ancient ley lines is creating feedback loops that destabilize local geomagnetic fields. If this isn't contained, it could lead to catastrophic environmental and technological consequences." The surge has drawn attention from multiple factions, including the enigmatic Zion and the Egyptian Restoration Council, ERC. Reports suggest that both groups have dispatched operatives to investigate, with Zion reportedly aiming to embed orb resonance amplifiers within the leyline nexus to enhance their global VR influence. The ERC, on the other hand, is suspected of attempting to secure the site to solidify their political control over Africa's energy resources. This power play has sparked fears of imminent conflict as both factions vie for dominance over this critical leyline juncture. Resistance leaders have called for international cooperation to mitigate the leyline crisis. However, skeptics question the motives of certain factions involved in the talks. "This isn't about stabilization, it's about control," said Kofi Mensah, a resistance strategist. "Whoever controls the orbs along the Nile will have a stranglehold on Africa's most powerful leyline nexus." Meanwhile, local communities are bearing the brunt of these disruptions. Farmers along the Nile Delta have reported failing crops, while urban areas like Cairo are experiencing rolling blackouts and inexplicable electrical storms. Grassroots movements have emerged to protect sacred sites, claiming the ley lines are tied to Egypt's spiritual heritage. The ERC has issued a statement urging calm, promising swift action to address the instability. However, critics argue their primary aim is consolidating power rather than preserving the region's cultural and ecological balance. As tensions rise, one question looms: can the world stabilize the ley lines without plunging further into chaos? Intro Extra. Cultural Snapshot. Egypt Reclaimed. Egypt has become a focal point in the leyline crisis, not only for its strategic importance, but also for its cultural and historical significance. Recent years have seen a resurgence of interest in Egypt's ancient heritage, with movements like the ERC advocating for a reclamation of its lost glory. The revival of Kemetic practices, grassroots movements have begun integrating ancient Kemetic spiritual traditions into modern life. Festivals honoring Ra, Isis, and Osiris are now observed alongside contemporary celebrations, creating a unique blend of ancient and modern Egypt. Technological fusion. Egyptian technologists are leveraging orb resonance to develop innovations inspired by ancient architecture. These advancements aim to harmonize technology with spiritual principles, with projects like the Digital Obelisk gaining international acclaim. Artistic Renaissance. Artists in Alexandria and Luxor are drawing on themes of reclamation and resistance. Resonance art installations, such as The Eternal River by famed sculptor Layla Habib, explore humanity's relationship with time and memory, weaving orb resonance into their design. Despite these efforts, the leyline instability threatens to unravel these cultural advancements, disrupting the delicate fusion of technology and tradition. Artists have reported resonance art installations destabilizing, their intricate orb-powered designs breaking apart under fluctuating energy fields. Farmers attempting to restore ancient irrigation systems are seeing their work undone as geomagnetic pulses desynchronize orb-based equipment. The instability jeopardizes not only these projects but also Egypt's chance to reclaim its identity and leadership in a world reshaped by orbs. The preservation of Egypt's legacy has become a battle against both time and chaos. The question remains, can Egypt reclaim its identity amidst a global battle for power? Short story Theban Nights, enhanced. Cleopatra pulled her hood low, shielding her face from the flickering glow of the ley line beneath the sands. The air was thick with the scent of heated stone and ancient dust, each breath carrying the weight of history. The faint hum of orb resonance blended with the rustle of sand carried by the desert wind, creating an otherworldly symphony that set her nerves on edge. Shadows danced across the ruins, their movement unsettling in the eerie half-light, and Cleopatra's fingers instinctively brushed the hilt of the dagger hidden beneath her cloak. Every sound, every flicker of light felt amplified, as if the ley line itself was watching her. She had entered Egypt not as a queen but as a shadow. The Nordic alliance had granted her safety, but her ties to Egypt and the ley lines were a tether she could not sever. In the distance, the Nile mirrored the heavens, shimmering under the cosmic resonance that had grown erratic and foreboding. The name carved into her memory like the inscriptions on the temple walls. Their partnership had been a tempest, equal parts ambition and destruction. She remembered their last confrontation, the fury in his eyes as they stood at the threshold of annihilation. His obsession with controlling the orbs had driven a wedge through Egypt's soul. She had seen the collapse before he did, choosing exile over further ruin. Yet, her departure had not freed her. It had left Egypt vulnerable to his unchecked will. Sekhet, Cleopatra's thoughts shifted. The priestess had remained, a guardian of truths too dangerous for any faction to wield. Tonight, Cleopatra's mission was clear, to secure Sekhet's knowledge before Ramses's operatives did. The ley lines carried power, but they also carried memories, and Sekhet was the only one who could interpret their ancient songs. Her steps were deliberate, the soft hiss of sand beneath her boots the only sound. She approached the temple ruins with caution, scanning for signs of the ERC or Zion operatives who had been reported in the region. The faint hum of orb resonance grew louder, a reminder of the precarious balance she was walking. Marcus, his name rose unbidden, pulling her mind away from the immediate dangers. The Vatican's reach had made him a formidable player in the global chessboard, but Cleopatra's memories of him were far more intimate. He had been her equal in Rome's Senate, her partner in the grand games of power. Now he was a mystery, cloaked in the Church's secrets and burdened with its moral weight. Did he remember their shared ambitions, the passion that had driven them to rewrite the fate of empires? She paused at the temple's threshold, her breath catching as memories surged unbidden. Marcus's touch lingered in her thoughts, a tether to moments of ambition and connection that felt like lifetimes ago. She could still hear his voice in the Senate chambers, steady and persuasive as they plotted the rise of their shared vision. The echoes of Ramses' fury, however, burned brighter. The clash of their wills, a tempest of ambition and betrayal, had fractured the unity she once fought to protect. Now, the ley lines seemed to whisper these memories back to her, amplifying the emotions she struggled to contain. Her breath quickened as she felt the weight of both men's choices pressing against her, each one shaping the fragile path she now walked. The threshold felt less like an entryway and more like a mirror, reflecting the scars of the past alongside the faint hope of redemption. Marcus's touch, Ramses' fury, the collapse of Egypt's unity. The ley lines seemed to amplify her turmoil, feeding on the unresolved echoes of her past. Cleopatra, a voice called softly, breaking her reverie. She turned, hand instinctively reaching for the blade concealed beneath her cloak. It was Sekhet, her weathered face illuminated by the pale glow of the ley line beneath their feet. "You shouldn't be here," Sekhet said, her voice a mix of relief and admonition. "Neither should Ramses," Cleopatra replied, her tone firm. "But we both know he's not far behind." Sekhet nodded, gesturing for Cleopatra to follow her deeper into the ruins. The ancient temple was a labyrinth of corridors carved into the sandstone, its walls adorned with hieroglyphs that seemed to glow faintly under the resonance of the ley lines. The air was cool and damp, carrying the earthy scent of time-worn stone and faint hints of desert myrrh. Cleopatra's footsteps echoed softly, mingling with the distant drip of water seeping through cracks in the rock. Shadows danced across carvings depicting gods and pharaohs, their expressions imbued with both serenity and warning. As they moved deeper, the faint hum of energy intensified, creating an almost musical vibration that resonated in Cleopatra's chest. The ruins felt alive, as if they too were guardians of secrets that even Sekhet dared not speak aloud. "The ley lines are restless," she murmured. "They remember, and they're warning us." "About what?" Cleopatra pressed, though part of her already knew. The ley lines carried more than energy. They carried truth, and truth had a way of surfacing at the most inconvenient times. As they descended into the hidden chambers of the temple, Cleopatra felt the weight of history pressing in around her. The walls were etched with hieroglyphs and resonant carvings that seemed to shift under the ley line's light. Each step felt like walking through a living memory. "Marcus is not your only shadow," Sekhet said suddenly, her tone cryptic. "The Vatican's reach is vast, but their intentions are not yet clear." Cleopatra paused, studying the priestess' face. "And Ramses?" Sekhet's expression darkened. "He seeks to awaken what should remain buried. The orbs are not tools, they are conduits. Ramses' path will not end with power. It will end with oblivion." Cleopatra's resolve hardened. "Then we stop him. Together." Short story dreams of the Silk Circuit, enhanced. In the neon-lit heart of Neo-Chengdu, Zhaojin stood beneath the towering structures that fused ancient Chinese architecture with the bold, angular designs of the cyberpunk era. High above, digital dragons coiled around spires of steel and glass, their forms rippling with shifting hues of orb resonance. The Silk Circuit, a VR construct designed to merge Oriental culture with the cutting-edge realities of the cyber age, was Chipan's most ambitious project yet. Tonight, Zhao was not just a participant in the circuit, he was a seeker. His interface hummed as it synchronized with the construct, transporting him into a world that blurred the lines between history and futurism. The simulation began in a courtyard surrounded by bamboo groves that shimmered with bioluminescent light. The air was thick with the earthy scent of damp bamboo and blooming jasmine, mingling with a faint metallic tang that hinted at the underlying orb resonance. A gentle breeze carried the soft rustling of leaves, blending seamlessly with the rhythmic hum of unseen digital mechanisms woven into the grove. The entire scene exuded a serene yet otherworldly beauty, inviting Zhao deeper into its mysteries. A figure awaited him, Genghis Khan, rendered in hyper-realistic detail, his presence as imposing as Zhao had imagined from history books. "Do you understand what it means to conquer?" the Khan asked, his voice deep and resonant. Zhao bowed, the ancient gesture feeling strange within this ultramodern landscape. His mind churned with the irony of it, an act so rooted in history performed amidst a world shaped by neon light and orb-powered constructs. The bow felt both reverent and out of place, a stark reminder of the duality Chipan embraced. Zhao wondered if the blending of these worlds, tradition and technology, was a strength or a contradiction. Did the Silk Circuit honor the past, or was it merely exploiting it for modern ends? These thoughts lingered, fueling the quiet tension within him as he faced the towering figure of Genghis Khan. "Conquest is no longer of lands, but of minds and realities," Zhao replied, reciting the Chipanese mantra. The Khan smiled faintly. "You speak as a child of the new age, yet the essence remains unchanged. To rule, one must harness the flow of power, not fight against it." As Zhao processed the words, the simulation shifted. The courtyard dissolved, replaced by a sweeping battlefield lit by the eerie glow of digital fire. The clang of steel on steel echoed across the expanse, mingling with the hum of orb-powered weapons charging in the hands of Chipanese warriors. Explosions punctuated the chaos, sending ripples of energy through the ground that Zhao could feel even within the simulation. Virtual wind carried the scent of scorched earth and ionized air, and shadows of digital constructs flickered like ghosts against the crimson-lit sky. Zhao watched as warriors clad in cybernetic armor moved with precision, their fluid motions a blend of martial tradition and advanced technology, colliding with Zion's constructs in bursts of light and sound. In the distance, Zhao could see the armies of Chipan clashing with virtual Zion constructs, their warriors wielding weapons forged from orb energy. A second figure materialized, dressed in the ceremonial robes of the emperor. The spiritual leader's presence was a stark contrast to Genghis Khan's raw power. And yet, Conquest without balance leads to ruin, the emperor said, his voice calm but commanding. The orbs are neither ally nor enemy. They are a test. To master them, you must first master yourself. Zhao knelt before the emperor, overwhelmed by the gravity of the moment. How do we achieve balance, he asked, his voice trembling. The emperor and Genghis Khan exchanged a glance, their expressions inscrutable. Balance is found not in the domination of others, but in unity of purpose, the emperor replied. Qipan must lead by example, blending its ancient wisdom with the technology of the future. Only then can we navigate the storms ahead. The emperor turned toward Zhao as if reading his thoughts. You are ready for the next step, he said, extending a hand. Suddenly, Zhao was transported to a glowing map of China, dominated by ley lines converging at a single point, the pyramid of the first Chinese emperor. The emperor spoke again. The pyramid is more than a tomb. It is a conduit, a key to mastering the orb's power. When the first emperor arrived millennia ago, he brought with him knowledge not of this earth, a legacy of the enlightened empire, a civilization that transcended the stars and spanned epochs before recorded history. This empire was said to have mastered the orbs, using them not just as tools, but as conduits to understanding the fabric of reality itself. They taught early civilizations how to harness balance and harmony, planting the seeds of enlightenment that would guide empires like Qipan. The first emperor's arrival marked a convergence of their ancient wisdom with human ambition, and the pyramid now stands as a testament to this union, a vault of their greatest secrets and a key to their ultimate legacy. Within the pyramid resides an ancient AI, a fragment of that empire's wisdom, waiting for the chosen to awaken it. To activate it, you must unite the 8 resonance artifacts scattered across Qipan's ley lines. Only then will the AI reveal the path to balance and enlightenment, and through it, the power to lead Qipan into a new era. The emperor's gaze grew intense. But beware, Zhao Jin, the wisdom of the stars is not without its tests. The AI will judge you, and only those of true balance and purpose can wield its gifts. Its tests will probe the depths of your mind and spirit, challenging your understanding of harmony and You must navigate illusions that blur the line between reality and simulation, face echoes of past failures, and endure the weight of choices that ripple across time. Only then will the AI reveal its wisdom. Zhao nodded solemnly, his resolve hardening. As the bamboo grove returned, he realized this wasn't just a test. It was the beginning of a new chapter for Qipan, and he would play a pivotal role in determining its fate. The whispers of the enlightened empire lingered in his mind, intertwining with his own hopes and fears. The lessons of the Silk Circuit were clear. Qipan's path lay not in following Zion or the Vatican, but in reclaiming its ancient legacy, rooted in wisdom that transcended time and space. Zhao knew the stakes extended beyond Qipan. The balance of the entire world, perhaps even the cosmos, hinged on what he would do next. The lessons of the Silk Circuit were clear. Qipan's path lay not in following Zion or the Vatican, but in forging its own destiny, rooted in its unique heritage. Extra One Cultural Snapshot, Neo Chengdu, expanded. Neo Chengdu has emerged as the cultural and technological epicenter of Qipan, blending the old and the new in a way that captivates and challenges the imagination. The Silk Circuit, a VR construct designed to immerse users in Qipanese history and philosophy while exploring futuristic applications of orb resonance. It has become a hub for both spiritual enlightenment and political discourse, with factions across the globe sending emissaries to study its innovations. Resonance Gardens, public spaces where traditional Chinese gardens are enhanced with orb technology, creating multi-sensory experiences that harmonize with nature. These gardens are now used for international peace summits, symbolizing unity amidst chaos. Cyber monasteries, monastic orders that integrate ancient spiritual practices with orb-enhanced meditation, attracting followers from across the globe. Their teachings have begun to influence global spiritual trends, challenging the Vatican's dominance in matters of faith. Neo Chengdu exemplifies Qipan's philosophy of balance, using technology to preserve its cultural identity while innovating for the future. Globally, it has become a symbol of how tradition and cutting-edge technology can coexist, challenging the binary dominance of Zion and the Vatican. Neo Chengdu counters Zion's reliance on ideological uniformity by promoting diversity through shared cultural experiences. Its orb-enhanced resonance gardens foster unity without coercion, contrasting sharply with Zion's VR-driven conformity. Similarly, Xi'an's integration of ancient spiritual practices into its cyber monasteries offers an inclusive alternative to the Vatican's more rigid spiritual doctrines, positioning Neo-Chengdu as a haven for those seeking balance and innovation. While Zion wields VR to amplify ideological control and the Vatican focuses on spiritual alignment, Xi'an's approach redefines power through cultural resilience and collective harmony. This philosophy resonates particularly in regions seeking alternatives to centralized control, positioning Neo-Chengdu as a beacon of possibility amidst the chaos of the ley line crises. Its influence is expanding, challenging the dominance of Zion and the Vatican in shaping the global narrative. Neo-Chengdu's resonance art movement is even inspiring underground resistance groups worldwide who see its balanced ethos as a model for reclaiming autonomy in a fractured world. These groups are adopting Xi'anese methodologies to counter factional oppression and systemic instability. For instance, in South America, grassroots movements are using resonance art to create immersive VR protests that expose governmental corruption, blending art with activism. In Eastern Europe, underground networks are constructing orb-free zones inspired by Xi'an's cyber monasteries, providing spaces for reflection and resistance against Zion's ideological encroachment. Even within Neo-Tokyo, independent hackers are leveraging Xi'anese principles to decentralize VR platforms, fostering community-driven systems that emphasize collective balance over control. These adaptations underscore Neo-Chengdu's growing influence as a beacon of creative defiance and cultural resilience. Its influence is expanding, challenging the dominance of Zion and the Vatican in shaping the global narrative. Extra 2, Intelligence Report, Xi'anese Strategic Ascendancy expanded. The Xi'anese consortium has been quietly expanding its influence in the global ley line crisis, leveraging its technological prowess and cultural heritage to position itself as a stabilizing force. Key initiatives: development of orb-modulated VR systems designed to enhance collective decision-making. These systems are now being adopted in several neutral regions to mediate internal conflicts. Collaboration with the Nordic Alliance on ley line stabilization projects, fostering new alliances. These efforts have also drawn interest from the South American Free Coalition, hinting at broader cooperation. Establishment of a global orb ethics council based in Neo-Chengdu, tasked with creating frameworks for responsible orb usage. Notable challenges: persistent ideological clashes with Zion, particularly over orb utilization in cultural constructs. Zion has accused Xi'an of embedding subversive messages into their VR systems. Internal dissent among traditionalists, who fear the loss of Xi'an's identity in the cyber age. Grassroots movements within Xi'an are calling for a clearer delineation between innovation and cultural preservation. Xi'an's strategic ascendancy is reshaping the global power dynamic, offering a third path in the escalating tensions between Zion and the Vatican. For example, its orb-modulated VR systems have been instrumental in mediating the South American Free Coalition's internal disputes, showcasing their potential as tools for peace rather than control. Meanwhile, Xi'an's collaboration with the Nordic Alliance on ley line stabilization projects has attracted global attention, offering a counterweight to Zion's ideological dominance. These strategic moves are not only stabilizing volatile regions, but also demonstrating that balance and innovation can coexist, influencing neutral factions to reconsider their alignment. Its orb-modulated VR systems have proven instrumental in mediating the South American Free Coalition's internal disputes, showcasing their potential as tools for peace rather than control. Meanwhile, Xi'an's collaboration with the Nordic Alliance on ley line stabilization has garnered both praise and scrutiny, with neutral factions viewing the partnership as a viable counterbalance to Zion's dominance. These strategies have also begun influencing smaller nations, who see in Xi'an a model for resisting hegemonic powers while preserving cultural autonomy. By positioning itself as a unifying force, Xi'an is redefining the rules of global influence in a fractured world. For Zion, Xi'an's cultural resilience is both a challenge and an enigma, as it counters Zion's ideological programming with deeply rooted traditions adapted for modernity. The Vatican views Xi'an's spiritual fusion with technology as a potential rival to its own claims of moral authority. Meanwhile, the public in neutral territories sees Neo-Chengdu as a symbol of hope and possibility, sparking movements to replicate its balance of heritage and progress. These perceptions are elevating Qipan's global influence, positioning it as a disruptor in the ongoing struggle for control of the ley lines and orb resonance. As Qipan's initiatives gain momentum, its unique approach, rooted in balance and innovation, continues to attract allies and adversaries alike, making it a central player in the unfolding global crisis. Outro quote: "The future is not written in the stars, but in the choices we make." Qipan's path is one of unity and purpose, a beacon in the storm of chaos. Emperor of Qipan. Chapter 25, Fractures and Harmonies. Opening quote: "Where threads of discord weave, there too lies the chance for unity." Annals of the Resistance. News article headline: Ley line crisis. Nordic alliance signals alarm over rising instabilities. Date September 1, 2088. Stockholm. As ley line surges ripple across Europe, the Nordic alliance has issued a stark warning. The escalating orb resonance could fracture the continent's energy grids and destabilize already fragile geopolitical tensions. Reports indicate surges are converging near the ancient ley line nexus beneath the Baltic Sea, raising concerns about widespread disruptions to critical systems. "These anomalies are beyond our capacity to manage alone," said Helga Strand, a chief scientist in the Alliance's Orb Research Division. "Without global cooperation, we risk cascading failures across infrastructure and communication networks." The surges have attracted the attention of major factions. Zion has dispatched emissaries to the Nordic region, citing the need for orb stabilization to protect their neural uplink operation. Simultaneously, reports from resistance operatives suggest the Vatican is deploying a special task force to assess the potential spiritual implications of the phenomena. Amid this mounting tension, independent entities like the Baltic Trade Federation have begun lobbying for stricter control over orb-related technologies, accusing both Zion and the Vatican of exploiting the crisis to expand their influence. "The orbs are not tools for dominance. They are a shared responsibility," said Sofia Markov, a Federation spokesperson. As negotiations stall and the surges grow stronger, a question looms. Can the factions set aside their rivalries to prevent disaster, or will the ley lines become another battleground in the fight for global supremacy? Intro Extra Cultural Snapshot: Nordic Roots, Orb Resonance. The Nordic Alliance's approach to orb technology has always been grounded in preservation and harmony, reflecting the region's deep ties to nature and ancient spiritual traditions. This philosophy has shaped their response to the ley line crisis. Resonance sanctuaries. Remote locations in Scandinavia have been converted into resonance sanctuaries, where ley line energy is carefully monitored and redirected to mitigate surges. Mythic integration. Nordic folklore has found a new voice through orb-enhanced storytelling, with sagas of gods and giants reimagined for VR experiences. These immersive narratives are not only cultural preservation tools, but also platforms for global education. Sustainability through innovation. The Alliance has pioneered eco-friendly orb technologies, integrating them into renewable energy projects and urban planning. Their latest initiative, the Aurora Grid, aims to stabilize regional ley lines while generating clean energy. This balance of tradition and innovation places the Nordic Alliance at the forefront of efforts to address the ley line crisis. However, their commitment to neutrality is being tested as factions vie for control over Europe's orb resources. Narrative timestamp: September 2, 2088, Ley line nexus, Baltic Sea. Krishna Patel crouched at the edge of the cliff, her gaze fixed on the swirling vortex of energy beneath the churning waves. The ley line nexus at the Baltic Sea was unlike anything she had ever seen. Tendrils of glowing resonance twisted and writhed, illuminating the dark waters with a spectral light. "We've confirmed increased activity in the past 24 hours, Tasha's voice crackled through Krishna's comlink. Zion operatives have been spotted near the southern coast, and resistance intel suggests the Vatican's task force landed this morning. Krishna's jaw tightened. The factions were converging, each vying for control over this critical ley line juncture. She had no illusions about their intentions. The orb's power was too tempting, their potential too great. Narrative timestamp: September 2, 2088, Vatican Headquarters, Rome. Within the austere halls of the Vatican's Intelligence Division, Marcus Annunaki stood before a holographic projection of the Baltic Nexus. The ley lines pulsed with chaotic energy, and the resonance from the orb shimmered faintly across the display. "Our mission is not one of conquest," Cardinal Severus said, his voice reverberating through the chamber. "This is an opportunity for guidance, a chance to bring spiritual clarity to a fractured world." Marcus's gaze lingered on the map, but his mind drifted. He thought of Cleopatra and her haunting words during their last encounter. Her voice had carried an undeniable weight, a blend of accusation and longing that had stirred something he thought buried. "Meaning is not found in control, Marcus. It is forged in trust," she had said, her gaze piercing through the veil of his Vatican allegiance. He wrestled with the duality of his loyalty, to the Vatican's vision of order and to the lingering echo of a shared destiny with Cleopatra. The map before him blurred as his mind filled with questions. Was his mission truly one of guidance, or had the Vatican become as power-hungry as Zion? And if so, could Cleopatra's path offer the redemption he hadn't dared seek? "Meaning is not found in control, Marcus. It is forged in trust." His loyalty to the Vatican had never wavered, but something stirred deep within him. The echoes of his past refused to be silenced, and now, standing at the precipice of another crisis, he felt the weight of history pressing against his chest. A fragment of history. Cleopatra had spoken of Marcus Antony, her great companion from another age. He is no longer the man of Rome, but he carries their shadow. Zion offers him stability, but he will not find peace. His heart is tied to another shore. The queen's insight carried a warning. If he turns from Zion, it will not be for power or faith. It will be because history calls him back to me, to us. That bond cannot be broken. Narrative timestamp, September 2nd, 2088, Leyline Nexus, Baltic Sea. Krishna shook off the memory as the present demanded her attention. The team's equipment buzzed as Elias worked to counteract the interference. Tasha motioned toward the cliffside where figures began to emerge. Vatican operatives, dressed in neutral tones, making their way toward the Leyline Nexus. Standing at their center was Marcus Antony, his presence commanding despite the chaos. Krishna froze as Cleopatra's words echoed in her mind. Marcus surveyed the scene before addressing Krishna directly. "You stand at a turning point, resistance operative. What lies ahead is more than a contest of ley lines. It is a battle for meaning," Marcus said, his voice carrying a weight born of countless decisions and regrets. The words seemed as much for himself as for Krishna, an echo of centuries past when he and Cleopatra had faced their own crossroads. In his heart, he felt the pull of history, the unresolved threads of his bond with Cleopatra weaving into the present. He hesitated, his conviction wavering, as though the meaning he spoke of was still just out of reach. Krishna bristled, but kept her composure. "And whose meaning, Marcus? Zion's, the Vatican's?" The man's gaze softened slightly. "Or perhaps—" From the shadows, Cleopatra stepped forward, her eyes locked on Marcus. "And what of the meaning we forged?" she asked, her voice carrying a mix of challenge and longing. For a moment, the battlefield seemed to pause as ancient ties resurfaced, connecting past and present. Cleopatra's presence was a revelation, her figure as regal as in the murals of Alexandria. Marcus lowered his head. "You have not been forgotten," he murmured. "Nor forgiven." Cleopatra's expression softened, the steel in her demeanor tempered by something deeper. She thought of the paths they had both walked, divergent yet eternally linked, and how history's weight pressed upon this moment. She had faced countless trials since the days of Alexandria, yet none carried the same mix of hope and dread as this one. "This is not about forgiveness. This is about what comes next," she said, her voice steady but tinged with an unspoken plea, as if daring Marcus to rewrite their shared fate. Expanded journal entry. The Baltic Sea Nexus was unlike any leyline site I've encountered. Its energy felt alive, almost sentient, as if it were aware of our presence and intentions. The orb at its heart was both mesmerizing and menacing, a reminder of the power we're dealing with and the responsibility that comes with it. Working alongside the Nordic Alliance has been a lesson in humility. Their respect for the ley lines, their commitment to balance and preservation, is something we could all learn from. Helga Strand in particular surprised me. Her determination to protect this site at all costs reminded me of why we fight. Not for power, but for the chance to build a better world. It wasn't just her calm authority under pressure or her ability to dissect complex orb resonance patterns with ease. It was the way she spoke of the ley lines as living entities, deserving of care rather than control. "They breathe as we do," she had said, her voice reverent yet firm. "And like us, they suffer when we take too much." Helga's perspective reshaped how I saw our mission, grounding it in something greater than victory. Her unwavering commitment reminded me that, in the chaos, there is still room for compassion and purpose. But Zion's arrival has complicated everything. Their demand for control over the Nexus is a stark reminder of what's at stake. This isn't just about ley lines or orbs. It's about the future of humanity and who gets to shape it. We can't let their vision of domination become our reality. Not now, not ever. Outro Extra: Nordic Alliance's Strategic Vision. The Nordic Alliance's approach to the leyline crisis reflects their deep commitment to balance and cooperation. Their efforts have drawn both admiration and skepticism from the global community. Neutral factions and grassroots movements view the alliance as a guiding force for ethical orb usage, often citing their resonant sanctuaries as models of sustainable innovation. However, dominant factions like Zion and the Vatican perceive the alliance's influence as a challenge to their control. Zion has openly criticized the Nordic alliance for prioritizing balance over decisive action, while the Vatican questions the spiritual implications of their secular approach. Public sentiment, especially in regions destabilized by orb exploitation, increasingly aligns with the alliance's vision, positioning them as a symbol of hope amidst the turmoil. By integrating orb technology into sustainable practices, they've demonstrated that innovation doesn't have to come at the expense of tradition or nature. Global partnerships, their collaborations with neutral factions and grassroots movements, have set a new standard for international cooperation. Education initiatives, orb-enhanced learning programs are bridging cultural divides and fostering a new generation of global citizens. Defensive strategies. The Alliance's focus on ley line stabilization has made them a crucial player in the fight to protect these critical sites from exploitation. As the ley line crisis continues, the Nordic Alliance stands as a beacon of hope, proving that unity and harmony are not just ideals, but achievable reality. Outro quote: "Harmony is not the absence of conflict, but the art of weaving discord into unity."